Good morning from American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store in Liberty Center. It's Rise and Rewind presented by the Swanton Welding Company. Good morning, Coach Strock. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Doing great, Lynn. It's great to be back. Long time no see. This is the third leg of our trifecta.
Yeah,
Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday morning. I love coming to American Freedom Energy Grandma's General Store on Saturday morning.
I do too.
I love it.
A little later than we normally start, but late trip back from Wapak last night. Got home, 11:30-ish?
Yeah, and we didn't even stop.
No. And we were going to stop, but Legends in Ottawa was already closed, or we would have stopped there. It would have been a little later. I was hoping to sleep into like 8 this morning, but my yellow lab, Clark, at 6:30, I hear him jumping on our back door. Well, we have deer in our backyard.
Oh.
So I was up at 6:30, couldn't go back to sleep. But it is what it is. And then I almost hit a deer.
That doesn't surprise me.
On my way here.
That doesn't surprise me. A little more sanity out here this morning, as the only coffee club member that remained was Rob Myers and, of course, Glenn Badenhop.
Well, Robbie wasn't even here at the start this morning. He just rolled in later in the day. And when I rolled in, Rex was leaving, so I didn't have to get any harsh words from him this morning. It was just good morning, Coach. Good morning, Lynn. And he exited, and that was it.
Wow. He must have something on his mind, because he doesn't miss an opportunity to get a dig in. I thought Spike would be here, but he might still be trying to
Spike was here when I got here a little before 8:30.
Well, he must have just got back from Tenora when you saw him, because
he could have.
I think he got turned around last night with some road construction.
He had some issues with that. He did say that. He was complaining about the road construction, the overpasses there on 24.
I do kind of miss seeing the old boys here. We'll cross paths with them. We'll bump our time up now and then.
We will see them. Got to see your dad this morning. Got to talk to him real quick, but
it's more than I have this week, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you to our good friend Norm Zeider at the Swanton Welding Company, presenting sponsor of Rise and Rewind this season.
Yeah, Norm is the best. Very thankful for Normie, and I feel almost a little more official this morning.
Yeah,
Lynn.
I do too.
Glenn made sure we got official special
coffee
grounds.
Club.
Yeah, coffee club coffee mugs.
I got number 18. I wonder whose that was back in the day.
As far as football number, or who used to use
to use it? I'm trying to think if I want to drink out of it here or not.
That would concern me. It's none of the current guys. Passed away, Glenn. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's
that.
Okay. Former coffee club member. So you're drinking in his honor.
Yes, I am.
And no, I have number 10.
Number 10. Was that your high school number?
Was my high school football number. I think they did that on purpose.
I think they did. Going to wrap up week 1 from around the area last night and also Thursday. And look at our good friend Jeff Sleesman shows up. How about that?
Jeff Sleesman. There may be some people. Now, a lot of our listeners know Jeff's a supporter, but there's people out there going, Jeff Sleesman? Who's Jeff Sleesman? He is one of the original members of the band as far as our followers go. And first time I met Jeff Sleesman, I was at and Jeff would comment and be very supportive. And I say to Lynn, you know Jeff Sleesman? He goes, no, I don't know Jeff Sleesman. Who is this guy? And I didn't think he existed. I thought it was like a burner account.
Yeah. You never know these days.
Well, you never know. And so I'm at Perrysburg High School, and Napoleon and Perrysburg are playing boys basketball. And late in the game, this gentleman comes down and said, I want to introduce myself. I said, you do exist. And what a wonderful man.
Yes.
Always living life under par. That's his line.
That is his go-to. Yeah. And I think he does. I've seen him on the golf course.
Well,
he can strike it.
I know. And he's always somewhere.
Yeah, he is.
That is great. Jeff, thanks for joining us this morning,
Good to see you this morning.
See, I told you he's everywhere.
Yeah.
JV football game over here.
Where were you last night? He was on Cherry Street. You did say that during the broadcast.
That's where I thought you were, because you gave me a score update and a neat meme or photo with it. No, that was great. That was we should get some insight from Jeff on that game. I think I think people anticipated it being a real good matchup, but I don't think many people expect Central Catholic, including us, to lose, especially on Cherry Street. And Walsh Jesuit
they
got
have
it done.
Cass Tech coming up in week 2 to the Irish, and that will be maybe even more of a challenge. So they're playing that game at Wayne State on Friday evening.
Oh, okay. At Wayne State.
Cass Tech has some dudes. Now Central does as well. Let's see if they are able to rebound. You know that Coach Dempsey and that coaching staff will get them prepared and get them right for week number 2. But it doesn't get any easier for them.
No, it doesn't. And Coach Dempsey is, I mean, he's great. He's a consummate professional, but he doesn't have a whole lot of practice at picking up the pieces with his team, especially during the regular season. So he's had to do it at times, but this is uncharted for him a little bit.
Not to get too far ahead for the Fighting Irish, but then they have Detroit Catholic Central, who beat them a year ago.
Yep, that's right.
And pretty handily. 21-7, had a nice defensive effort, did Detroit Catholic Central. Staring at maybe an 0-3 start if you don't play well here the next couple weeks.
You know, the old saying, Bill Parcells used to say, you are what your record says you are, because people say, well, they're the best 0-3 team. If Central started 0-3, I'm not saying they're gonna. I don't think they will.
No,
but
I don't either.
If they did, people would say they're the best 0-3 team. Parcells' thing doesn't apply.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, they're at least going out and challenging themselves.
You got it.
Not everybody goes out and challenges themselves in the non-conference, but Central Catholic, Greg Dempsey will play anybody anywhere in the non-conference. He always has, and I guarantee you that Central Catholic will make another run in the playoffs no matter what happens here in the regular season.
Yeah, and let's say they finished the regular season 6-4, 7-3.
Do you want to play them in the playoffs?
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, they will be prepared.
Yes, they will.
Another team 0-1 that has some challenging games here the next 2 weeks is also Columbus Grove. Liberty-Benton come to Clymer Stadium this week, and then they have to go to Patrick Henry week 3 before they get into the NWC schedule. Another great coaching staff at Grove with Andy Schaefer in that group, but that's not an easy chore for them either.
No, and again, Lynn, you talked about Coach Dempsey and Central Catholic taking on all comers early in the season. How about Andy Schaefer and Columbus Grove? I mean, you can, if you look far and wide enough, you can kind of pad things a little bit. And Andy Schaefer's never been interested in doing that, and he wants to test his guys and then try to improve for the postseason. And not everyone does that. So
with the 12-team playoff now, it was 16 here the last few years, but now 12, you have a little bit of a luxury. You can drop a game here and there. Now, if it was 4, like it was back in your day, you lose one game and you might be done for the whole year.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no climbing back.
No, there's no climbing back. And so I do like the expansion for that reason. But even with 12, I mean, you do have margin for error. But I'm curious to see what that margin actually looks like. Will 6, and I know it depends on the region and the schedule and all that, but will 6-4 almost guaranteed got you in with 6 teams. Is it that much of a guarantee with 12? I'm curious to kind of see. And I know it depends on a lot of things.
But. Yeah. Patriot Publisher, great to have you guys back on Saturday mornings. Has to be a PH fan, I'm sure.
I love it.
Yeah, good stuff.
They rolled last night.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. If you have a question for us, you're watching right now,
and they can do it.
They can do it right there.
See, I'm not as tech savvy as my friend Lynn Groll, so they can
ask us a question. Yes.
Hey, keep it clean, keep it positive.
Yes, please.
And I know our followers will. They're a wholesome bunch.
Yes,
they're a wholesome bunch.
Yes, they are. Look back from week 1. Had a couple Thursday night games. Rest of the slate kicked off last night. Couple surprises for me. Springfield over Maumee.
Number 1.
And the way they did it.
Yep.
Maybe not a huge surprise had they won, but what they did. Oh, Sam Arredondo and crew. Goodness gracious. I know it's just one game, but where are those two teams headed this season?
Well, so let me ask you this. The age-old question. Does that game, for those that maybe aren't familiar with, the NLL, NBC, and things like that. If Vegas was putting odds on that Maumee Springfield game last night, just based on last season, okay, there's no sample size this season. Maumee would have been about minus 5,000.
Yeah,
for people that understand what that means. And so, does that game say more about Springfield and where they're trending, or more about Maumee? And again, it's one game, but like you said, the way it happened, the margin was convincing. I mean, it wasn't 21-20 with a missed extra point and a muff punt. So, Coach Arredondo, boy, it wasn't too long ago Springfield was competing for NLL championships, and then they had some coaching turnover and things like that. Maumee coming off an 8-2 season, looking to contend in the NBC, and then stumble week 1 at home to Springfield. That's the game that jumps out to me, Lynn.
Patriot Publisher, not a PH fan. All go Dogs from Grove.
Okay. Boy, they've been good to us, haven't they?
They have. Yeah.
They've been good to us. Appreciate our Columbus Grove listeners for sure. Any other games, Lynn, outside of Maumee Springfield? I think there were about 20 that I had starred during our podcast that I thought maybe could go either way. And some of them did, like Archibald Genoa fell into that category. And
Lipsick putting up 56 on the Lake.
Well, that stands out.
Yeah. A lot of the first-year head coaches had a good opening night. Steve Rittenauer at Defiance. Going to go through the list here real quick of first-year coaches. Sam Arredondo that we mentioned. Gibsonburg. Shane Dyer won his coaching debut in the Village last night against Ottawa Hills in dominating fashion as Grant Smith went off for Gibsonburg. Wes Winning down at Fort Recovery. They had an easy night. Greg Bishop returned to the more the ball, the more I know he had coached there before, but they get a win over Bucyrus last night. Justin Keller at Whitmer, 30-0 over Dublin Kaufman. So a lot of new head coaches getting win number 1. Joe Horn, St. John's got win number 1 as well. I think I covered everybody that's a first-year head coach.
I'm looking at my list, and I think you covered it.
Yeah. Congratulations to all those guys.
Yeah, another one that not a shocker because you knew Edgerton had a chance, but pretty convincing fashion over Eden. 41-14.
Yeah.
Eden's normally the one putting up those points, and I think Edgerton. Maybe they didn't play great against Patrick Henry in their scrimmage, and a scrimmage is a controlled practice, is what it is, and Coach Flagel buttoned some things up there, which you knew he would, and they've got to be happy Saturday morning.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's take a break and come back and start our recaps from action on Thursday and also from last night. The Swanton Welding Company proudly supports our local student athletes and coaches. We're committed to being your local steel fabrication company in Northwest Ohio and building projects across the country. For job opportunities at the Swanton Welding Company, visit www.swantonweld.com or visit them at 407 Zider Way in Swanton. Thank you to our good friend Norm Zider at the Swanton Welding Company, title sponsor of Rise and Rewind this season. Stay tuned each week. We may adjust the time, maybe a little earlier some weeks than 9 a.m., but follow us on our social media pages and you can keep up to date on those and also our podcasts and football shows. We'll try to give you an update when we're going to start each week on Saturday mornings. You can always watch or listen to us later on our YouTube link as well as as this video will save on there.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Lynn said we're doing video, for Rise and Rewind, and I don't like video. I don't like it. Every time he says it, I'm like, why do we have to do video? He said, well, some people prefer it, so we're going to do it. So I'm being a team player. He's the boss. And so curious if people will prefer video on
you can plug your phone in to your car or connect it however you want to do it. I'm not that tech savvy with that Bluetooth stuff, but and you can just listen to the audio. It's no different.
Yeah.
You can just listen to the audio if you want.
But we don't need people trying to watch it while they're driving. That's my issue with it. They don't need video for everything. They don't need their faces in a screen. Sometimes all they need to do is listen. They're going to be driving down the road trying to watch it, and they're going to be distracted.
Jeff Sleesman might be one of those if he's not going to a JV game on a Saturday morning. Do you think Jeff would be doing that?
No, not in his automobile.
He's more responsible, right?
He's more responsible. Now, he might be watching it in the stands between plays.
Yeah.
But curious how people like the video, because we've never had this for Rise and Rewind.
Yeah.
And I was kind of joking. I kind of like it, actually.
Do you? You like it now? I know your sister was excited about having us on video. You think she's watching right now?
I would bet.
Tracy, make a comment if you're watching or send us a text.
There is.
She might be shopping, though.
There is absolutely a 100% chance she's dialed in right now. She'll either text me or comment here.
Yeah.
If she even knows how to comment on YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't.
All right, we're going to start with a couple Thursday night games, the games that we covered at Fred J. Brown Stadium. Defiance 20, Napoleon 19. Defiance stopped a Napoleon 2-point conversion with under a minute left to preserve a 1-point victory in the 103rd edition of the Maumee River rivalry clash. Coach, your takeaways? We were there. Probably went in maybe. Experts thought Napoleon maybe had a little bit of an edge. George Eggers, their all-Ohio running back, did not play, but they rallied there in that fourth quarter after they got down a couple scores.
They did, and both teams hit by graduation. I think Defiance was maybe hit a bit harder by graduation than Napoleon. Of course, you think Napoleon, and the name that jumps out is Trey Rubenstein, and of course Owen Espinoza. But Defiance was hit hard as well. I think on paper going in, and a lot of this, again, was based on a controlled practice. Defiance did not show very well against a physical Liberty Center team, and so people get in their head, well, Defiance isn't very good. Well, if you know Defiance football and you know their new leader, Steve Rittenauer, they're going to improve. They're going to get better. And if you also know anything about the River rivalry, you will know that you can throw everything out the window, because that game is going to have its peaks and valleys, and whoever can weather the storm.
Oh, boy, did it have it peaks and valleys. It looked like Defiance kind of had it sewn up 20-6 near the midway point of the final quarter. Cole Sarrigan, that punt return, and then Hayden Groll from 4 yards out closed it to 20-13. Then Defiance got a couple first downs, and they had a first down to seal it, but fumbled the ball after picking up the first down. Napoleon recovered it. Kelby Parsons to Sarrigan, touchdown toss of 13 yards with under a minute to go. Napoleon elected to go for 2, and were stopped as Hayden Groll was stopped at about the 1-2 yard line on that 2-point try. And then the onside kick, they almost got the onside kicked in Napoleon. They had a great chance as it bounced off a Defiance guy, bounced back to in the Napoleon area, but were unable to get it, and Defiance picked up the win. Napoleon actually had an edge of 238 to 225 in the yardage, but Defiance won the rushing battle 175 to 141. Chase Camiso, 98 yards on 18 carries and scored twice. Kelton Gibbs added 63 yards on 14 totes. Hayden Groll, 118 yards and a touchdown on 21 lugs for Napoleon in place of George Eggers, but Defiance gets the River Rock back after Napoleon pulled it out a year ago in overtime.
Couple things, Lynn. Napoleon not having Eggers mattered.
Yes.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And if he were 100% healthy, not only would he carry the ball 25, 30 times, he'd have been playing linebacker on the other side of the ball. But Hayden Groll, the junior running back, was so good that the difference wasn't astronomical. Now, you can't replace George Eggers, but Hayden Groll is legit. He would be the guy on a lot of teams. So Hayden Groll was good. I am looking forward to seeing the development of Kelby Parsons, the junior quarterback at Napoleon. He showed some flashes of brilliance, super athletic, can beat you with his feet. And I think as things evolve offensively for Napoleon, you're going to see him get him out of the pocket and use his feet a little bit more as it presents itself. And so I think Napoleon's got a lot to like. Defiance, Chase Camiso, oh my goodness. He is a bull in a china shop carrying the ball, and their lines are their strength offensively and defensively.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We saw Wapak a night ago. That's who Defiance is going to have to catch in the WBL. How much of a gap is there for the Bulldogs to catch a team like Wapak that's also going to likely make a pretty good playoff run as well?
It is significant. The gap is significant. I was thinking about that actually, Lynn. It's significant in a couple of areas. In the trenches is where Defiance can probably hold their water with Wapak. The gap is glaring when you look at the flanks, and this is no disrespect to Defiance. It's a compliment to Wapak. When you look at the skill guys, the receiving core, and then some of the youth on the back end for Defiance, the gap is significant, to be honest with you, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And after seeing Wapak, they are a heavy favorite in my mind to repeat as Western Buckeye League champions. They've held that standard since 2018, 2020. There was no WBL championship handed out because of the COVID year, but they've won outright or shared the WBL title since 2018. And I don't see that changing much this year.
Especially after seeing what happened to St. Mary's and Galleon last night.
Yeah.
Lynn, for the last several years, you've talked a lot about Caleb Moyer, the quarterback down at Wapakoneta, and I'm familiar with Wapakoneta, but
we'll break down Wapak here in a couple minutes, even more in detail.
Yeah,
he's a special player.
Seeing him play in person, a full game, not just highlights, kind of opened your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Also on Thursday night, Pandora-Gilboa 22, Columbus Grove 21. The Rockets pulled one out 2 years ago at home with a late touchdown, and they do it again. Rockets stormed back from a 21-7 deficit in the fourth quarter with 15 points. In the final stanza, Ben Burkholder ran for 122 yards and 2 scores on 27 totes to pace Pandora-Gilboa, while Corey Girton was 19 of 33, passing 163 yards. Chase Meyer caught 9 passes for 89 yards and a score. Brody McClure needed only 9 carries to gain 96 yards rushing, while scoring 1 touchdown to pace Grove on the ground. Didn't have a lot of carries, did Brody, but he picked up 96 yards in that matchup.
I think,
and we've heard from a couple people that were at that game. Mark Allstater from the Lima News we talked to last night, and he said that Ben Burkholder is special. Remember they had Ethan Luganville a few years ago that we saw in action, similar.
And I think people that maybe aren't as familiar with, the football down in Putnam County, they just assume Grove will beat Pandora-Gilboa. And Pandora-Gilboa is not a program that gets a ton of fanfare. And I think they kind of like it that way. But if you know football in history, Pandora-Gilboa always has some big, strong linemen, and they always have speed. And they always have a dude or two like Burkholder this year that can sting you. And they get up for that Columbus Grove game.
Yes, they do.
And just like the Napoleon Defiance game, there was a 2-touchdown score in that one.
Yes.
And it just happens. It just happens. And Pandora-Gilboa, like some people would say, well, that's an upset. I don't, Grove, I know, had a lead and Pandora came back, but it's not a massive upset because it's a rivalry in week one.
Veteran quarterback in Corey Girton. Seems like he's been there 12 years. He's been there forever, it seems like. And Chase Meyer, a really good receiver. They have a nice core.
Yes, they do.
That they can go to in big time moments. And they pull out a 22-21 victory over Columbus Grove. Grove has Liberty-Benton coming to town. The game we will have on our Gamecast presented by the Sports Place at Boissy-on-Ace coming up on Friday night at Clymer Stadium. Be a big week of practice for Grove to get ready for that one.
It will, and I'll tell you. Remember 1 year ago, Grove went over to Liberty-Benton and laid the smackdown on them.
Yeah.
And so Grove's not going to be in awe of anything. And if anybody can pick up the pieces, it's the Grove Bulldogs, Andy Schaefer and his veteran staff, and those kids will get refocused. That game's going to be close.
Well, they started 1-2 2 years ago. They lost that game to Patrick Henry in week 3 that I believe you broadcast with Carl Junker that year. And PH laid it on them pretty good. They were 1-2, and Grove still made a run in the playoffs.
Yep. There's no question about it. And they don't get, Andy Schaefer's not a guy that's going to get all caught up in his win-loss record. He's all about worrying about his team and how they improve, and he's not worried about padding his schedule.
Yeah.
So
even if they do start 1-2, 0-3, 2-1 by week 11, they're going to be a problem.
There's no question about it.
In Region 22. Wapakoneta 28. Clay 7 last night. It was 7-0 Wapak right before the half. Clay drove down, got it to the 8-inch line.
Yeah.
First and goal, 24 seconds, no timeouts left. Snap over sophomore quarterback Landon Eckelberry's head with time running down. Wapak jumped on it back at out past the 10-yard line, and Wapak came out in the third quarter and put up 21.
Yeah,
did that change the tenor? Yeah. And if had Clay scored there, would have that been maybe 21-14, or who knows?
That's a great. We'll never know, but I just think it was too much to overcome for Clay psychologically. And earlier in the game, they drove down to the red zone or near the red zone and stalled.
That's right. Yeah,
didn't get as close as they did.
Had a field goal blocked.
Had a field goal blocked.
Penalty. They have a holding penalty in there, I believe.
They did. And so there's a lot to like about this Clay Eagle team. I'm telling you, they lost 25 plus seniors a year ago. The kids filling in, and we can take a look at their schedule here coming up, and I actually have it pulled up, so we'll take a look. So they're 0-1, lost to a team that might go 10-0, and they've got Southview coming up. They've got Bowling Green, Napoleon, and Bowser. And I would say on paper they'll be a favorite in all of those. Yeah. I would say they'd probably be a favorite on paper. Now, out of those four that we just mentioned, I think Napoleon would pose the greatest challenge, especially with a healthy George Eggers. But what's going to make it really tough to match up with Clay, Lynn, is their size up front. Man, I know, some Napoleon folks thought after the Defiance game that I talked to that may be the biggest line they'll see all year. No, this Clay group looks like a Division III, Division II college offensive line.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, just one kid that's under 200, and the rest are all 270 plus. Yeah, 340, 320, 310.
Yeah, and if you think that there's going to be a huge drop off, now you don't replace a Mason Heinschel, but if you're saying, well, Heinschel's gone, they're not going to be able to do a lot of the things they were. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Landon Eckelberry, folks, if you haven't seen him, this kid is flat out special.
Yes,
it's unbelievable. He's a 5-tool player as far as football goes.
Yeah. Curious your thoughts on these two quarterbacks if you're a defensive coordinator, because they can run, they can throw, they can do it all. Are you pressuring them? Are you laying back in a zone? Are you spying them with somebody the whole game? What are you doing to try to slow down Caleb Moyer and Landon Eckelberry?
The answer is yes. So I think the key is you better vary your looks, because don't be fooled that Eckelberry's a sophomore. The kid's mind is like a college sophomore. It just is if you watch him. So I think you've got to mix it up. If you're going to bring heat every time, they'll burn you. If you're going to lay back, they'll absolutely dink and dunk and carve you up. You've got to bring pressure. But if you get too aggressive, they'll make you miss. And the thing that makes them nearly impossible to defend is the way both guys can extend plays with their feet. So spying them, I think, from time to time is the right thing to do. You better mix zone and man. You better mix a variety of blitzes, because if they get a beat on what you're doing, they'll carve you up. So defensive coordinator, I would never want to be a defensive coordinator ever. You wouldn't sleep at night getting ready for these guys.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
And then Caleb Moyer has the luxury of number 11, Caden Page, 6'2", 185, going to Ohio next year. Boy, that's a deadly combination. And then you have Jarrett Mullen in the backfield. He's only 5'8", 175, but he runs like he's twice that size.
Kind of reminds you, I'm not saying he is, kind of reminds you with his stature and kind of his quickness and toughness of a Nate Kamick type running back. The way he's built and things like that. And he's got a lot of he's got great top end speed, but man, he's got that low center of gravity. So they are a complete football team, and we haven't even talked about their defense yet, Lynn.
Yeah, I think that gets kind of lost in the mix with how good their offense is. But what makes that defense so good after witnessing them in action last night?
Well, number one, they're well coached. Okay. And they're good sized kids, but they're not, you don't look at them and say they're huge. But they're physical, they're well coached, use their hands well, but their team speed, takes your breath away from the linebackers on back and then their tackling ability. And Coach Pennington talked in his pregame about seeing that on film and seeing it in person. Like if they don't just, try to knock you down or grab cloth. I mean, they are old school, clubbing the arms, wrapping, and taking you down. And if the first guy doesn't get you on the ground, there's about 6 or 7 red helmets on their way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you think of those golden locks of Caleb Moyer?
You know what?
What would you do with hair like that, Coach?
Here's the thing. We had a chance to sit down with Caleb Moyer at our kickoff show down at the Moeller Brew Barn. That dude, he's just so some people define leadership as, I've seen it defined as a powerful presence. That's simple. What's leadership? A powerful presence. Caleb Moyer is the dude with the golden locks that walks into the huddle and the dudes just want to follow him. He's got that swagger. He's got that moxie. He was so pleasant to talk to.
Yeah.
And I would give anything to be able to coach a quarterback. It'd be like playing a video game. I mean, I'm so envious. And same with Eckleberry. Coaching guys like that, man, I'd have won a lot more games. And I coached some good ones. I'm not saying I didn't.
Yeah.
But those guys are just next level.
Things are looking up for this Clay program. They have a lot of sophomores along with Landon Eckleberry. Bryce Bestgrove, sophomore running back. He looks really good.
Yeah. How about number 6? What was his name?
Jimmy Durer.
Yep.
Sophomore receiver. Yep. Had him on some jet sweeps early on. He picked up some big yardage. He's going to be good too. Yep. They keep those kids around next couple of years. They're gonna make a push. How many wins they get?
Okay, that's what I was just. I'm telling you, Clay moves to the Buckeye division, the bigger school division in the NLL, and so initially, last year I'm thinking, oh man, they graduate Heinschel and Troy Hazuda, wasn't he a real good player for him last year?
Yeah.
And some of those guys last year, Hudson Byers, and I'm thinking, man, going to the Buckeye after losing those guys, oh man, Coach Pennington's going to have his work cut out. And then I leave that game last night, even though they lost 28-7. If you'd have seen the ebbs and flows of the game, you'd understand what we're saying. And I'm thinking, they're going to win some games in that Buckeye division. They're going to knock off one of the big dogs. And when I say the big dogs,
I'm just going to ask you the big three.
The big three, Whitmer, Perrysburg, AW.
Yes.
Are the big three. And Findlay, big school, but not in the big three there. And I think Clay can knock off one of those three. And
let me ask you this. Will Wapak be the best team they see all year, Coach?
Okay. So, Lynn, kind of the basis of why I said that, I'm looking at the big three.
And do we know what Anthony Wayne is yet? A lot of turnover from a year ago.
No, we don't. And
Perrysburg lost a lot from a year ago. Whitmer,
a
little more returning than those two, but where's Whitmer at?
Yeah, so I look at those big three and I ask myself, how do they stack up against Wapak? So, in other words, could Wapak beat one of those big three, AW, Perrysburg, or Whitmer? The answer to that is yes. I think Wapak could beat 2 out of the 3, maybe all 3, depending on the night.
Would they be favored if you put them up against Wapak? Would they be favored against all 3 of those teams? Wapak, I'm talking. Who would you favor over Wapak from that mix?
I'd say if I were setting odds, AW would be a 1-point favorite, Whitmer would be a 1-point favorite, and they'd be favored over Perrysburg.
1 point.
Just
you say 1 point.
I'd say it's that close. You couldn't.
Okay. Well, that answers my question. They may not see anybody better than
I agree.
Wapak all year.
I agree.
Is there a Caden Page and a Caleb Moyer in the NLL Buckeye division?
No. And I'm telling you, and I know pretty much all the quarterbacks on their schedule, and no, there's not a Caleb Moyer, and there's not I don't think a receiver as dynamic as Page. And not only is he big and long and a great route runner, his hands are unbelievable. He makes the impossible look routine. And so I think it's a great opening game for Clay. And if their fans are like, what kind of season's it going to be? New coach. Clay fans, buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, agreed. Caden Page, it's one of those guys that he doesn't look like he's running that fast because he has such big strides. But, man, I don't know that he ever got to top speed tonight. He got that touchdown he caught that was an 87-yarder. He's just kind of
separation.
Galloping. But boy, he is special.
Yeah, he is, and that's a team. Like I said, you've been more familiar with him in that. I'd never watched a full game, and after seeing them last night, and it's not just that they have some talented guys like Moyer and Page and Jarrett Mullen. It's that they're extremely, extremely well coached. You just watch their fundamentals from just even their stance. And the angles they take in space and things like that. So Wapakoneta's as advertised, and I'll be rooting for him going forward. Coach Moyer's been good to us,
Yes,
you know.
He has. Wapak folks last night were very good to us.
Weren't they?
Yep, Brad Rex, the AD, and a couple of your friends that we met down there. I didn't know if we were going to get on the air because you were hobnobbing with everybody last night.
Yeah, and it continued this morning. Texting Scott Minig, one of my good buddies we talked about last night, but he's the principal at Wapakoneta, and he came up to see us. And then Cliff Hemmert, a Hall of Fame quarterback at Bluffton, who was an awesome halftime guest, wasn't he?
Yeah. I don't have it posted our archive yet.
Okay.
You can go on our archive when I get posted later today and hear from Cliff. Standout quarterback at Bluffton College, went over to play actually in London.
Yeah, which I think I knew at one time. I forgot.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say about that, just real quick. Even if you don't want to listen to the entire game, you're not a fan of either team. If you're just a football fan, listen to the halftime interview with Cliff Hemmert on last night's broadcast, the Clay Wapak game, and he talks about why football was important to him. And then he pursued a career in the banking industry, and now he's coaching junior high football at Wapak, and he talks about why he wants to do that and kind of his journey. Well spoken.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We may get him on the podcast at some point if we can get him up here to Liberty Center.
He would be willing. And Cliff Hemmert.
Yeah. Great talking to him last night. Catching up on some comments. Matthew Clark. We're gonna get to that. Matthew Crestview running back Braxton Leaf. He had a big night. Kenny Stabler texted me early this morning, and boy, what a night he had! 408 yards and 7 touchdowns, school record.
You know what's interesting about that?
Against Parkway.
You said Crestview's running, but yeah. So Jeff Sleesman, our friend who was here, is an official.
Yeah,
and he officiated the Crestview scrimmage, I think their first scrimmage.
Okay.
And he's just, he's always corresponding with us. And after that scrimmage, he texted me and said, you guys need to keep an eye on and talk about this Crestview running back.
Yeah.
This kid's special.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
How many yards?
408.
Him or as a team rushing?
Him.
Holy cow.
Yeah, we'll get to that later
awesome.
Here on in the show. Cam says Evergreen looks scary good this year. Knocked out Delphus Jefferson last night. We'll talk about that later as well. Jay Brown, good morning. What a beautiful evening for the first week of football. Jay, couldn't agree more. Jerry Brown says, couldn't agree more, Jay.
Two great supporters, too, Jerry and Jay Brown. Twin brothers.
Yes.
And, they're as identical as they get. So, real quick, thank you to you guys, man.
Guys,
That's awesome. My sister Tracy did text, and she said, heck yes, I'm watching, and I love the video.
Oh, good.
I don't think she knew how to post on that. And maybe it got buried in the comments.
I've been watching. I didn't see it.
Okay.
Tracy, good morning. Thank you for being a great supporter of Rise and Rewind. Walsh Jesuit goes to Cherry Street last night, 17-14, snapping a 26-game home winning streak by the Irish behind 362 yards of offense. Central Catholic, 242 yards overall, including 146 rushing. But Walsh Jesuit comes into Toledo and gets the victory there. And as we mentioned earlier, Central Catholic has to play Michigan Power Detroit Cass Tech next week at Wayne State.
Sometimes, at least I am guilty of just assuming Central Catholic's going to win because they usually do, and probably didn't give Walsh Jesuit enough credit coming into that game. But, we all live in this little bubble, and for us, it's the Black Swamp area. And I know we watch what happens outside of it, but sometimes you forget that there's other good teams and other good players out there.
Yeah.
And that exemplifies it.
Absolutely. Liberty-Benton, 35-0 over OG. They held the Titans to 65 yards of total offense in that game last night, Coach Strock. LB tallied 21 points in the second quarter, and kind of put that game away at the half, get the shutout. Connor Barber, 10 of 15 passing, 155 yards, 2 scores. Both of those to Toledo commit Seth Elkert, who caught 8 balls for 141 yards overall. His twin brother, Zach, tacked on 3 rushing scores in that one. But Liberty-Benton showing that they're going to be pretty good. I think everybody knew that they were going to be pretty talented this year. And if they can stay healthy, they're going to make a run.
They are. And, hey, Glenn, can you get me some more Freedom Fuel? Thanks, buddy. That tastes good this morning. And no, get those out of here.
No, I don't need those either.
Glenn and Greg Batenhop are so good to us here. So, Lynn, we talked at the outset about things that kind of stood out to us. This score kind of stands out to me. Not that Liberty-Benton won. And if you've never seen Seth and Zach Elkert in person, like if on video games you can create a player, like if you're creating a high school skill athlete,
they got some flow with the hair too.
Yeah, they've got the flow with the hair, and they're chiseled. And so like if I were creating a high school skill guy, it would be using them as my prototype. Thank you, Glenn.
I need a couple packs of creamer too, please, Glenn. Hopper's not going to stick around on Saturday mornings with us here.
No, he's going to. We have to tip him. I don't have any cash. Can you cover that for me?
I know. Well, you didn't buy dinner last night, so no.
I know. And
I'm still waiting.
No, I know. And I said on the air I was, so I deserve to be called out for that. But the Elkert boys are tough. I'm not surprised at all Liberty-Benton won, but Ottawa Glandorf, they haven't been to the standard that they've been, but it's still Ottawa Glandorf.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you.
A team that typically in typical years is a competitor in the Western Buckeye League. And for Liberty-Benton to do that to them, to me, is eye-opening. And so I asked the question again. I know it gets old, but does this say more about Liberty-Benton or OG? Is OG in for, tough sledding? Or is Liberty-Benton that good?
Let's see what Liberty-Benton does here in week 2. If they go into Clymer Stadium and get a victory,
I would
agree.
See
what kind of fashion they do it in.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
That would go a long way, I think, in maybe determining in the season that they're going to have. Maybe their toughest game all season here is coming up in week 2. Pandora-Gilboa, Leipzig, maybe. It's hard to put a stamp on anything yet. It's only been 1 week. I think we're still trying to figure out a lot of things. But
I know.
But could this be their toughest test all year? A Columbus Grove team that is, they're going to be locked in. That coaching staff will have the Bulldogs ready to go at home.
They will. And I'll tell you who, I know we don't cover them, but I was telling you, my son saw them scrimmage in the Blanchard Valley. The Arlington Red Devils will compete with Liberty-Benton. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but Arlington's good this year. They're going to be – Arlington will finish in the top 3, maybe top 2 of the BVC this year.
Okay. Trust you on that one. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
They kind of fly under the radar, and I think Arlington prefers it. When's the last time you've seen any Arlington stuff on social media? They
don't remember.
No, they play it close to the vest.
Yeah. Sam Cotterman and Eastwood got off to a nice start, 40-21 at Kenton last night. The Eagles pulled away with 21 points in the third quarter of that one. Braden Ludhart filling in for his big brother Drew, who broke his arm in a scrimmage earlier this season. Braden was 13 of 20, 183 yards, 2 scores in his first varsity start. Edmund Opfer and Landon Weems were on the receiving end of touchdown passes. Braden Brown hit Pater 3 times in the victory on the ground and had 95 yards rushing on 19 tries. Kenton gained 300 of their 354 yards through the air, but Eastwood is off to a 1-0 start with a 40-21 victory over Kenton.
And we know where they go this week.
Yes, we do. They're going to be right here at Rex Lindgren Stadium, Kip Curran Field. What is your food truck here this coming Friday? Toledo Chuck Wagon?
Toledo Chuck Wagon.
Okay. My wife says they have good grilled cheese. And I know that Smash Burgers is another thing they're noted for. So Eastwood fans, if you're listening to this, stop out here to American Freedom Energy Grandma's General Store. Can't miss it.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you come 6, you're going to have to take a little bit of a detour. So you may want to get on 24 because there's a bridge out.
Good call.
Just before you get into Liberty Center here.
Hopper, what time does the tailgate kick off Friday? 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And Eastwood fans,
you're more than welcome.
You're darn right.
Yeah, they will treat you well, I promise. And if they don't, talk to me. I'll take care of it for you.
Yes, and I'll help. But Eastwood Kenton, close a year ago.
Yeah,
right.
A little closer. Yes.
And not shocking that Eastwood won, but when you lose a guy like a Drew Ludhart, earlier we were talking about Landon Eckleberry and Caleb Moyer and guys like that, and Ludhart's elite in his own way with his skill set. You lose a guy like him and you think, oh man, here's what this says about Eastwood. It's the culture of that program, not just football, but the athletic department at Eastwood. And so that's why they're able to sustain or overcome losses of guys like Ludhart.
Yeah. I think his little brother is going to be up to the challenge.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll find out more as they come here to Liberty Center on Friday night. Another Western Buckeye League team in action last night was Van Wert, 42-7 over Bryan. No problem for the Cougars as they travel north to play the Golden Bears. Van Wert won its 8th consecutive game over Bryan, 519 yards, limited the Golden Bears to 172. Cougars threw for 264, ran for 255. Zach Crummy, I've heard he's really good. And he was last night, 12 of 17, 264 yards, also ran for 87 yards and 2 scores on 11 keepers. Xavier Kelly added 125 yards rushing, 2 scores. Keaton Welch, I believe that's the son of Rob Welch that many people should know around these parts. A great basketball player for his dad, Al Welch, at Wayne Trace, now in the Van Wert community. Keaton Welch hauled in 3 passes, 126 yards, and 1 score. Micah Cohen also caught a touchdown in that when Bryan had 129 yards passing and just 143 rushing.
Yeah, Coach Staten, he's going to do a great job at Bryan. Help is on the way. They've got some really good, young, promising football players coming up in that program. Things don't get any easier for Bryan, Lynn. I think they have a game they're going to be competitive in this week. They have Bowling Green, and then listen to the next 3 weeks, 3, 4, and 5. Fairview, Patrick Henry, Liberty Center. And then you have Evergreen on the heels of Liberty Center, who, is going to be solid. So Van Wert enjoyed their head coach, Coach Recker, and their kids when we met with them, and curious to see how they'll stack up this year in the WBL.
Yeah, WBL play gets started next week already. You get one non-conference game, and then you're right into conference action. Lakota, no problem with Elmwood last night, had over 300 yards rushing, a 21-6 victory over the Royals and Coach Bates' debut at Elmwood, but Lakota picked up the win in that one. Not much to add. Elmwood trying to find itself, and Coach Bates is working on building that program. It wasn't too long ago they were in a regional championship and had some really good teams. They graduated that junior and senior class that they had there those couple years, and now trying to find their way a little bit.
Here's what I'll say about Elmwood, Lynn. I don't have a lot to add to what you said, but they were really good, like you said, a couple years ago. I mean, dominant. They competed, with Liberty Center in the playoffs. Prior to that, 0-10, 0-10, 1-9. And then they got super, super good, and now they're trending the other way. And we know things ebb and flow at schools that size sometimes, but this has been extreme, so I can't really figure it out. They're well coached.
Right.
Coach Bishop knows what the heck he's doing,
Coach Bates.
Coach Bates now. Coach Bates,
yes.
I'm sorry. And I was impressed with him, and
he's got a good staff.
He's got a great staff, and I think they can regroup. Yeah. I thought Elmwood might get this one.
I did too. And see if they can stick together and try to make some progress this first year with that new coaching staff.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Bates at our kickoff show, I think he's got the personality and the perspective to keep the kids bought in.
Brought some back of the old guard and guys that are really familiar with the Elmwood and Bloomdale community. And we'll see where they go. A game that I was very interested in last night was St. Henry and Salina. Wanted to know if St. Henry was going to be maybe a team that can be in that upper portion of the MAC this season as we start our MAC coverage this season. Coach Whirling and his crew, 31-7 over Salina last night. Quarterback Charlie Whirling's 109 yards rushing on 13 attempts, and a stout Redskins defense led the hosts by Salina. Anderson Kramer also had an interception return for a touchdown on defense and the triumph for the Redskins. But St. Henry impressive, 31-7 to open up the year.
Well, we know that MAC schools really aren't in awe of anybody, but Salina hails from the WBL. I mean, they play big boy football in the WBL, and
absolutely,
to me, this is a statement win for the Redskins, and we've heard that they're going to be good, but to roll like they did there is impressive, and really excited. We'll talk about Archbold and what they did, but St. Henry Archbold this week. Looking forward to unpacking that one on the podcast.
Is at Archbold.
It is home. Yes, Archbold's at home with St. Henry. To me, that's an interesting matchup, especially Archbold. I think it's one game, but they got a big one last night.
Yeah, they beat Genoa. Now they beat Genoa a year ago too, and then came into this game against St. Henry. I'm going to look back and see what the final was. It was 42-14 St. Henry a year ago.
That's a lot to overcome.
A big hill to climb in 1 year, and I think St. Henry's every bit as good as what they were a year ago, and probably better. Archbold, we'll find out. I don't know that we know what Archbold is quite yet.
No, we don't. And if you talk to Coach Dominic, he would probably say he's not 100% sure what they are yet.
Yeah.
Not a big enough sample size.
Speaking of St. Henry, going to have their former coach Tim Beckman on our football show coming up later on in the season. That is going to be, let me find the date of that. I believe it is in October 1st. Tim Beckman will visit with us. St. Henry legend.
Yes, he is. Very, very humble man, and his son Todd went on to play for the Buckeyes. And just a humble guy, legend. His 92 team knocked us out of the playoffs, and just legend is the only way to explain him.
There's another son of his, Trent Beckman. Runs McSober's Saloon there in Coldwater.
It's a great name, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, we're gonna have to make a trip down to McSober's
would love to. I would love
Mo's
to.
in St. Henry.
Fish Mo's in St. Henry.
Moeller Brew Barn. Boy, great places down there in Mac country.
Yeah, there is. Might have to spend a night if we make that trek, Lynn.
Yeah, probably should.
Unless we can get Sarah, your wife, to drive us.
Yeah, I agree there. Sydney Lehman Catholic 56, Delphus St. John's 35. Tanner Lachey was 20 of 27 passing, 482 yards, 8 touchdowns. 482, 8 touchdowns as the Cavaliers put up huge numbers on the Blue Jays. Evan O'Leary caught 14 passes, 229 yards, and 4 scores. CJ Olding averaged over 40 yards per grab. Get this stat line, 253 yards and 4 scores on 6 catches, half a dozen catches, 4 of them for touchdowns, 253 yards. Riley Mueller carried 18 times, 140 yards and a score, while Christian Young added 110 yards and 2 scores on 11 totes. Delphus St. John's totaled 448 yards. Lehman Catholic had 520. Thank you to our good friend Rob Gagne for those stats. Boy, he keeps up with the MAC and is a stat wizard there in Delphus for the Blue Jays.
He does. And in the year 2025, Rob is a pencil and paper guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he sent me the stats in pencil and paper last night.
It's not spreadsheets.
I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm not used to that. That's throwback to 1988 or something.
It is. And we were able to have dinner at Millie's.
Yeah, that's right. Millie's in Idleville.
Yeah, with Rob and
Kenny Stabler.
Just two enlightening men.
Boy. Yeah, just great folks.
So, looking at this, St. John's had 448 yards.
Yeah.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
No.
But defensively, they just weren't able to hold down Lehman. And CJ Olding, he must be a sight to behold. 40 yards per grab.
I think it was over 40. That's crazy, right?
Something else.
Yeah. Fort Recovery, opening game of the West winning era. No problem with Dayton Ponitz Tech. You said on the podcast there was a little chance for Fort Recovery dropping this one in. West Winning's return to his alma mater turned into an easy victory at home last night for the Indians. The visiting Panthers, get this, 34 yards on 38 plays. Not a good night for the visitors that drove up from the south. And that one, Fort Recovery ran only 36 plays. They only gained 191 yards, but that was more than enough to put up 44. Reese Wendell scored twice on the ground, as did Alex Garkey, who also forced a fumble and returned it 88 yards for a touchdown. Forced it and returned it 88. Brady Evers also found the end zone for Fort Recovery, but West Winning and crew off to a nice start. Game that they were a pretty big favorite in.
Yeah, they were my lead pipe lock.
They were. That's right. They were your lead pipe. How did you know that?
There was absolutely zero chance Ponitz Tech was gonna. I didn't know if they get shut out or not, but I'd have bet my life on that one.
Fort Recovery will go to Allen East in week 2, and then they're at Coldwater, home with St. Henry the next 3 weeks. Find out what Fort Recovery is. West Winning has done a great job in getting the numbers back up. Yeah. They had battled the numbers problem there at Fort Recovery, but he has good numbers, good roster size for a smaller school like Fort Recovery. He's going to do a good job. I'm impressed by what Coach Winning has already brought to the table, and I know you have been too, just talking to him.
Just the only two things I would add is, number one, they're going to have their hands full against Allen East next week. I'm going to tell you that. Yeah. And number two, West Winning, one of the most impressive young coaches I've spoken to in a long time. What a class act, and I look forward to watching what he does with that program.
The MAC folks, they find the right guy when they make hires.
So we talked about that a little bit last night on our way home from Wapakoneta, and I was thinking about it. Sometimes people settle. Sometimes, and I know it's getting harder and harder to find coaches. I get it. But sometimes athletic departments just settle. Well, he or she's willing to do it. We have a need.
Yeah.
I don't think very often in the MAC conference they settle.
Yeah.
They get their man or their woman, depending. And a lot of times
the results speak for themselves.
They just do.
Yeah. They've all Parkway's the only one that hasn't won a state football championship, but Parkway's won state championships in other sports.
Yes. Yeah.
We can ask Tim Beckman when we get him on what it is down there in MAC country, because he was going to know more than anyone on the subject. But it's amazing what they do down there. Minster in the MAC last night, 22-14 victory over Fort Loramie. The Wildcats held Fort Loramie to negative 20 yards rushing into only 98 yards total to prevail in that one. Minster led 22-8 at the half after Fort Loramie gained 31 of its yards on a touchdown toss from Tanner Eilerman to Tanner Heckman with the game 2:06 old, and held on in the second half did Minster in that one. Carson Kaler scored two rushing touchdowns for Minster and had 84 yards on the ground. He also threw for 171 yards and completed 5 passes for 99 yards and a score to Noah Schwederman. Schwederman's a MAC name.
Huh.
St. Henry.
St. Henry's what I was thinking, yeah. I'll say this. If these two teams played again next week, I bet the score would be similar.
Yeah.
I bet it would be similar. In the MAC conference, those games always play out kind of the way they're supposed to. And then when there's rematches, the scores are almost the same as they were during the regular season. But how about that run defense?
Yeah, no kidding.
At Minster.
Yeah. Seth Whiting doing a nice job there at Minster, and had a nice run a year ago. Just ran into Marian Local.
And played them tougher than anybody all year, right?
Yeah. Lost the MAC Offensive Player of the Year in Brogan Steffi, but we'll see what Minster can do. They lost a nice senior class. We'll find out as the season progresses. Also in the MAC, maybe the game of the night in our coverage area probably was Coldwater goes down to Germantown and gets a 49-48 victory in overtime over Valley View as the defending Division VI state champion. Coldwater Cavaliers survived an overtime thriller as the Spartans misfired on a 2-point try in overtime. Saw a video of that, didn't you? And they had a chance to complete it.
Yeah, I mean the guy had a step, or actually 2 steps on the defender. It was a 2-point play, so the field was condensed, and some type of flag route, some type of corner route, and he got separation, and the quarterback overshot him by just a little bit, but they had their chances.
Coldwater, 415 yards of total offense. Valley View finished with 340. Coldwater generated 227 yards passing and 188 rushing, while the Spartans used their ground game to post 246 of their yards. Carson Homan was 12 of 20 passing, 202 yards and 1 score. Also added 139 yards and 4 touchdowns rushing on 18 keepers. Caden Obringer hauled in 4 passes, 188 yards and a touchdown for Coldwater, and that one is they survive a scare down there in Germantown last night. Valley View coached by former Defiance College football player and graduate Matt King.
I think one thing we know for sure, especially after this one, Lynn, Valley View is going to have a nice season.
Yeah.
They're going to win a lot of games.
It was 2 years ago. They played Liberty Center in the state semis, right?
Yeah. And
it was a pretty good game.
Battled them,
right down to the end.
It'll be interesting week 2. Coldwater is home with Clinton Massey. Clinton Massey, just a physical, rugged program. They're always good. And we'll see how the Coldwaters do in week 2, or the Cavaliers.
Coldwaters. Marian Local 56, South Adams, Indiana 0 last night at home as the Flyers extend their nation-leading winning streak to 65 straight. Marian Local had a hefty 409-80 edge in total yards. South Adams was held to 0 rushing yards. That Marian Local defense was special a year ago. We'll find out more about them as this season progresses, but get off to a great start with a blanking of South Adams in that. Last night, the Flyers tallied 28 points in the second quarter, including a rushing and receiving score from Andrew Smackers. Ben Meyer also found the end zone twice in the second quarter on short runs, and later added a 4-yard TD run and a 30-yard touchdown grab from Cam Walters. Cam Nagel returned the second half kickoff for a score as well. A Brennan Hess to Braden Mesher 64-yard touchdown, not quite 2 minutes into the game, accounted for Marian Local's other score. Hess was 9 of 11, 203 yards and 2 scores. The beat rolls on in Maria Stein.
It does. 2 things. First question: if you, now I'll reverse the order. I was going to say this. I was kind of the name Smackers.
I'm not sure that's exactly how it's pronounced. I think it may be pronounced a little bit different than that.
Okay. I was going to say, because if you're calling that game, and he lays a big hit on somebody or runs somebody over, I mean, you could just really utilize that. But got a kick out of that, and then. If you were a betting man, Lynn, and I know you're not, but if you were a betting man and you had unlimited funds, how much would you have wagered on Marian Local to win that game last night?
Buddy.
Would you? $1 million if you had it?
Oh, I'd have bet $1 billion if I had it. But what would have the odds been?
Okay. Marian Local would have been minus $5 million.
Yeah.
So you'd have made about 3 cents on $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have our magazine, our preseason magazine. If you haven't picked one up, go out and grab one. Around 40 locations around the area. You can find them on our website where they're located, Coach.
Also, Lynn, you don't plug this enough, and I know you're a humble man, but I think it's important. Talk about the website. Are subscriptions available?
Yes. Day, month, or a year. You can do any of the 3. Days $1.25, month is $5.25, years $50. We get our magazine printed down at Post Printing. I was down there and watched them print it the one year. I think it was 3 years ago, and they have a guy by the name of Mitch Smackers. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that last name right.
Okay,
but he played on Tim Goodwin's first team at Marian Local. He was a linebacker.
Okay,
yeah.
The fun fact.
Oh yeah, it was great visiting with him and hearing about the Marian Local community. But yeah, down in Minster, Post Printing. That's where Mitch works. I think he's still there. Didn't get to go down and witness the printing process this season. But
so what do they Post Printing? Obviously they print our magazine, your magazine. What types of things do they print? I mean, are they more print brochures?
They can print it all. I believe they have another location in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
down there as well. But boy, yeah, they can do it all. I think they do a lot of programs and whatnot. But yeah. I believe they may do something for the Kentucky Derby as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, they can do it all, and great folks. Lucy Homan is the lady that I work with. She's been fabulous, and the post printing crew, great people.
Well, if the magazine's any indication, that's obvious.
Yeah, they do a great job. Can't thank them enough. You need something printed in Mac Country, go see post printing, or if they can print something for folks around here too.
Yeah, they would.
I'll plug them for around this area as well. New Bremen 41-0 over Wayne Trace last night. Cardinals rolled on the road behind Jacob Kelly and Gavin Dickey, who combined for 168 yards rushing and 3 touchdown for Rays. Dickey also threw a touchdown pass. Wayne Trace held to 136 yards, but they committed 6 turnovers. That's not a good combination.
Good Lord. What type of turnovers, Lynn? Picks, fumbles?
I do not know right offhand, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You turn it over 6 times, you're probably not going to win. Again, New Bremen, a team that came to our kickoff show down there, very impressed with them. They were fun to talk to. First-class head coach. I think they'll move to 2-0 next week. We'll probably pick it on our podcast, but they go to Covington,
yes,
and then Parkway week 3.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up some stats that our good friend Kenny Stabler sent to us. Crestview's win over Parkway last night, 62-41. Braxton Leaf is what Kenny sent me. 30 carries, 419 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Say that again.
419 yards on 30 carries. 7 TDs. You know who they play next week?
Crestview?
Yes.
No.
Marian Local.
Okay, this will be a question for the podcast. He had 400-plus yards.
Both of those were school records. TD runs of 23, 19, 18, 49, 2 from 22, and 5 yards for Braxton Leaf.
Okay, so he's the real deal, and I'm actually looking back for Jeff Sleesman's message to me after he officiated the Crestview scrimmage. Good morning. Okay.
Marian Local going to roll into Convoy next Friday night. You think there'll be some folks around this area? Head down there and see what Mr. Leaf can do against
Jeff Sleesman's message. Hey, Tory, just got done officiating Antwerp and Crestview. It appears that Crestview has a star in the making.
I think I may have been on that text too.
A running back named Braxton Leaf. Excellent looking athlete. You're going to want to keep an eye on this young man. So here's going to be my question. We can talk about it in the podcast. He had 400 plus last night.
Yep.
Does he get 50 against Marian Local? And you don't even have to answer yet. You can stew on it a little bit because this young man is talented. And so it's not really going to come down to his ability as much as it is, can they get it done in the trenches and give him some running room? Because it sounds like if he gets a crease, he's going to go.
50?
50. I was going to say 100, but that's Marian Local. That's not right. 50. I'm setting it, the over-under at 50 rushing yards for Braxton.
Well, I would say yes.
Okay.
I think he gets over 50 because. Okay.
Does he get 400?
Parkway put up 41 last night. How many is Marian Local going to put up? Do they get some backups in there? Does he run against the second and third string and some freshmen?
Okay. Now, see, you're always a step ahead.
That would be why I
factored that in.
I don't think he gets 50 against the first teamers.
Okay.
I will say that.
Okay.
And Marian Local, you just don't get big plays against them.
No, you don't.
They cover every gap.
And they tackle well. Yeah. Be interesting.
Do you think he gets over 50?
I'm going to say no just because you said yes.
Oh, you're going to follow me?
Yeah, and I think if you get backups from Marian Local in, I don't think you'll see Braxton in there on the other side. I really don't.
Yeah, that'll make it tough. Yeah, that'll be interesting to follow on Friday night. I'm sure our good friend Kenny Stabler can fill us in. I believe he's got the call of that one.
Oh,
on WKSD next week.
He's probably looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I would assume.
No doubt about it. Also in the MAC last night, Anna 55-0 over Spencerville in that matchup. Not much of a game there in Versailles. 27-6 over Milton Union. So the MAC had a pretty good opening night,
as they typically do.
Yeah, no surprise there for the MAC folks. Liberty Center, hometown here, where we're settled in this morning in American Freedom Energy, just a throw away from Rex Lindgren Stadium and Kip Kern Field. The Tigers will have Eastwood coming to town, but last night 42-0 over Tenora, 9th consecutive game that Liberty Center has won over the Rams. They did it a little bit different fashion maybe than were expected from LC. 229 yards passing and held the Rams to 143. The series that started in 1991 is going to end next year, and LC is going to take a 28-6 advantage into the final matchup for the foreseeable future. Caden Kreinbrink, see his numbers, Coach? 11 of 14, 229 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jackson Lonzak called in aerials for 129 yards and 2 scores. Ethan Gray and Garrison Cruz also caught touchdowns. LC attempted 32 runs, gained 158 yards, led by 85 yards from Thomas Moeller, Cruz, and Baxter Barrett. Our good friend Scott Barrett's son Baxter with a touchdown run in that one last night.
So, series started in 1991.
1991.
My junior year, Norm Zeider's senior year. It was on the road at
Justin F. Kressel Stadium. I think it was Justin F. Kressel. Maybe it wasn't back then.
Yeah, it was close to that time when they named it. But yeah, that was the first year of the series. So played in that my junior year, and then back here at Tiger Stadium my senior year. Yeah. And it's been a good. It's Liberty's obviously had the upper hand, but Tenora's that's been a good week one opener.
It has, yeah.
And so my question, Liberty's Caden Kreinbrink, man, hats off to you. That's a great night. So when you look at those passing numbers, Lynn, did Liberty Center throw like that because they had to, because they wanted to, a little bit of both, or did they just consciously say, you know what, we're gonna mix it up a little bit and try to expand our offense a little bit?
Maybe they threw it a lot in that Perkins scrimmage last week too.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
They trying to be a little more versatile as they get. They're going to make a deep run in the playoffs.
Yes, they are.
There's no doubt about that. They're going to make a deep run. They're going to get to a regional final at the very minimum, in my mind, and I think they're probably destined for at least the state semis. We'll see when they run into Harvest Prep at what point. But should have talked to Chris Riggy when he was in here for the coffee club, and it could have asked him before he left, but he was here when I got here. But I have to ask Casey Muller or Chris Riggy if they're trying to maybe advance the offense a little bit with the passing game, because if they can throw it and run it, good grief. Good luck.
Yeah, they've got a stable of running backs. We know they have the guys in the trenches to get it done up front. So, and Kreinbrink, what stands out to me about Caden Kreinbrink, I think back to the state final game last year when they had to drive the ball,
he
kind of
that 2 minute
drill.
Yeah, he looked really good.
He was in command.
Mm-hmm.
He was in command. He didn't just do things good physically. You could tell he was a great leader out there. So curious to see his progress.
Maybe we find out a lot more about Liberty Center this week against Eastwood, and maybe find out a lot about Eastwood.
Well,
in this week two clash.
I think we will. And I think the one thing Liberty Center doesn't see much throughout the year in the regular season are great passing offenses. Let's be honest, the NWAL is not a prolific passing league. And we saw when Perkins was over here. Now, Perkins has an elite quarterback and an elite receiver, but you see that when Liberty's facing a team that can throw it proficiently, it changes things a little bit. And if you play the game in a phone booth with Liberty Center, they're going to bludgeon you. If you can throw it out, get your athletes in space and throw it around a little bit, I think you have a chance maybe to compete. And I think that's something Eastwood's going to do that Liberty doesn't see every day in the regular season.
Eastwood probably the team that's going to be most efficient in the passing game, I would say, that they're going to see.
Yeah, I was trying to think through their schedule, and I would agree.
A lot of A lot of running teams that they run into in the NWAL.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to follow that game.
Yeah, agreed. See where both teams are kind of at there. Also, NWAL GMC matchup last night over in Hicksville, and Patrick Henry, no problem. Patriots scored 21 points in the first 5-16 and clobbered Hicksville. PH ran only 29 plays, 403 yards on 29 plays, coach. Aces managed just 115 yards on 40 snaps. Cal Schrader carried 6 times, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns to power the Patriots. Jaden Rudder scored twice as well. Mitch Prigge and Braxton Beard also scored for PH in that one. Tristan Rosebrook was a perfect 8 of 8, 163 yards and a touchdown to nephew Reed Krieger. 5 catches, 100 yards for your nephew last night to start the season. I don't know how much that game tells us about Patrick Henry.
No, I mean, you talk about a lead pipe lock. There was no question Patrick Henry was going to do this last night. And my son and my family went to the game, and I was talking to my son when I got home last night, and first thing he said is, I'm not going to say everything he said about the game, but he said, Cal Schrader runs hard. He is a beast. And I said, well, we saw him last year, and he's tough. But Grant was really impressed with him. He also liked Tristan Rosebrook at quarterback, and he said he is super smooth. And I think PH had a significant dude get banged up last night, and hopefully he's going to be good to go, but it would be significant.
I'm going to find out much about Patrick Henry week 2, Ayersville, and then Columbus Grove week 3. That's when we'll maybe get a little bit of a judge of what PH is this season in Liberty Center down the road. But those are probably the 2 games. Maybe you can throw Delvin Archbold in there, see where Delvin Archbold stand in the NWL as we progress through this season. The GMC did get one with Fairview edging Wauseon last night, 34-28. Maybe this game was a lot closer than many people thought. You thought it was going to be a tight one, but Fairview trimmed the Indians to retain the Tribe Trophy. Fairview posted 361 yards, including 267 in the air. Gavin Mead, 4 catches, 72 yards, a TD. Logan Olinger, 6 catches, 66 yards, a touchdown. Gavin Garza, 5 receptions, 57 yards to lead the receiving crew for the Apaches. Will Zedike, 18 of 29 passing. Cale Albright paced the Indians 110 yards rushing and 3 scores on 19 keepers. But Wauseon had an edge in this one at different times, but Fairview pulls it out 34-28 in the end.
Yeah, congrats to Fairview and Coach Rakes. We've seen, you talk about guys that seem like they've been playing for 6 years. Will Zedike, we saw him back when he was a freshman, and you knew then that kid was different, and he's a special player. But I did think this one was going to be tight, Lynn, because it should be. The Wauseon Indians, with their tradition and athletes and support and resources, Wauseon should always be able to compete with Fairview. And so I expected this, and but Fairview was able to find a way, and great teams find a way to win. And this is a long-running rivalry.
Yeah.
They've played week 1 for a long time.
I can remember. Yeah. No
so,
doubt about it. Yeah, at least since the early 90s, I would say. Probably about the same time that Tenor and Liberty started playing.
Yeah,
I would look that up.
I believe it. So I think what this tells us, I think we know Fairview's going to have a nice season. I think Wauseon's going to be competitive. I think they've got a chance to be in the middle to top half of the NWAL. I really do.
Yeah. Delta all over Ayersville last night, 42-8. The Panthers had 317 yards overall, including 236 on the ground. Gunnar Taylor, he had a big night, 74 yards on 17 carries. Vincent Martinez added 62 yards and a score on 11 totes, and Dominic Salyers added a 43-yard touchdown jaunt. Emmerich Fries was 4 of 4 passing, 81 yards and a touchdown to Alex York. Pilots, 110 yards on just 47 plays.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add, Lynn, but I will tell you this. No surprise, Delta, Mike Vickers, the veteran head coach. And I'll say this, those Delta kids, number one, they're lucky to have him back at Delta. And then number two, it would be fun to play for Mike Vickers. He's got a very unique, contagious personality. And you talk about, I think it's important for players to trust the head coach. And those kids trust Mike Vickers. And so if he tells them, hey, we're going to make this adjustment on our trap or this adjustment, it's probably a good idea. And I think they trust him. He's not a guy that's going to grab bag and draw straws.
Right.
And so their consistency here going into this season is no surprise.
Yeah. Good friend Jeff Chapman said he played against Wasion all 4 years of his high school career. 1987 was his freshman year. So that answers our question. He goes back to at least the 80s.
At least.
And he also says the video is a good thing. Tell Strock to suck it up.
You know what I wanted to do? Was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? Since you mentioned Jeff Chapman, another great supporter of ours. He had like a crawfish boil, frog legs.
Yeah. I think it's the Z-Dyke Chapman boil or something.
And
fry.
I even texted you. I said, we ought to roll in there. Yeah. And my question is, would we have been welcome? I think we would have.
Yeah.
But I love frog legs. Have you ever had frog legs?
Oh, yeah. I did some frog gigging back in my days.
Okay. I love frog legs. And then I looked at some pictures Chappie posted, and I thought, man, that'd be fun. Yeah. But we might have got in trouble.
We might have. Yeah, that's probably a good thing we didn't show up. Isaac Resner says, definitely come out to Matt Country. Isaac, we will be there. We love Matt Country.
We absolutely do.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Yes. Gibsonburg, all over Ottawa Hills, 49-14 last night. Grant Smith, really good running back for Gibsonburg. He totaled 222 yards rushing and 3 scores. He had 186 alone in the first half as Shane Dyer won in his coaching debut for Gibsonburg. Ottawa Hills kind of lost all that talent they've had in this great run they've had the last few years, and weren't quite sure what Ottawa Hills was going to be this year. And Gibsonburg's going to be pretty good. Grant Smith, one of the top small school backs in all of the state, and he put up big numbers last night for Gibsonburg in the Village.
Is Grant Smith the same guy is he like a senior, junior?
He's got to be getting close,
right? He's kind of a shorter,
maybe a
fire plug type guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Just watching his highlights over the last couple of years, he's the real deal.
Yeah, he's really good. No
and so
doubt about it.
Ottawa Hills, you wonder, because they've had a nice run there with Chris Hardman and now Coach Brandon Carter. Can a school like Ottawa Hills, when I say a school like Ottawa Hills, number one, they have a lot of sports. They have a lot of offerings, and haven't been a perennial, football school. Can they continue to trend up, or at least level out, or do they dip a little bit? Because they lost some great players the last couple of years.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. Gibsonburg, small school division. See where they can go this season with the rushing attack.
Always like physical.
That. Yeah, always tough. Woodmore 57-0 over North Central last night. Woodmore outgained the Eagles 256-64, and they were up 50-0 at the half, and a thrashing of North Central. Ooh.
Yeah, North Central, they haven't had varsity football very long. They started out really strong as they were building that program. Woodmore had been down a little bit, and I think the Woodmore Wildcats are trending up. They've had shown steady improvement.
No doubt about it. Archbold gets a nice win on the road at Genoa last night, 33-28. Jared Rivenall ran for 109 yards, threw for another 100 as Archbold got past the Comets. Ryder Ryan tacked on 106 yards rushing on 14 carries for the Blue Streaks. He scored once, along with Ethan Bowman and Ashton Stuckey. Morgan Harris added a receiving score. It was a dandy one-handed catch in the end zone for Archbold, who had 387 yards of offense for 367 for Genoa. Luke Clement dashed for 115 yards on 20 carries. Jackson Magnan caught 6 passes for 95 yards at a score. And kind of talked about this was a chance for Genoa to show that they were going to make some noise this season, but Archbold rolls in there and picks up the victory.
Yeah, and we know Archbold's tradition and things like that, and they're so well coached and so forth. But I think if you're Genoa, this is it's one game, but I think it's disappointing. I think Genoa at home, this is a game they needed to get, and
Agreed.
They just did.
Yeah,
And,
they're
and
thinking they're going to be a player in the NBC chase.
Yeah.
Maybe puts a little dent in those hopes.
I think it absolutely puts a dent in those hopes. And now they'll get healthy this week. They are on the road at Bowser, and then they have Huron at Seago and Maumee. So we'll see how the Comets rebound. But
Archibald's kind of had their number since this game has started.
They have, and Archibald, again, tradition rich, well coached. They're not in awe of going to play an NBC contender. Archibald's going to do what they do, and so we shouldn't be surprised, and we're not. But
well, if Archibald can beat St. Henry at home this coming Friday, now I think they're a decided underdog in my mind, and I think you would probably say the same about how that game went a year ago and what St. Henry did a night ago. But they can at least even make it close. Maybe Archibald is going to be in that 1, 2, 3 area. I think they're in the 3 range of the NWL chase anyway, but now maybe they're challenging Patrick Henry or Liberty Center, dare I say. We'll find out.
I'll just close it with this.
If they can.
I'll close it with this. If they're within a score, 10 points of St. Henry Friday night, and I know it's only 2 weeks, but you beat Genoa and are right there at the end against St. Henry, you're a legit contender. And I'm including them with PH and Liberty if they can do that next week.
Yeah. Well, find out here in week number 2. Perrysburg blowout win over Bowling Green last night, 64-0. Brady Maxwell ran for 3 scores, also connected with J.D. Zeeb for 2 more, and a Perrysburg romp. Not much to analyze here, Jack. It's pretty much overwhelmed the Bobcats.
They did, and that's an interesting opening week game for Bowling Green to me. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say.
Heard a lot of good things about Brady Maxwell.
Yes,
highly touted. Got off to a good start. He's going to see tougher competition as the season progresses. Whitmer also no problem for another NLL squad. They went to Dublin Kaufman 30-0. Justin Keller gets win number 1 as he's worked his way through the Whitmer system and gets a head coaching win last night. Held Dublin Kaufman to 129 yards on 54 plays. Dublin Kaufman ran a lot of plays, just Whitmer defense was really good in that shutout victory. The triumph gave Keller his first career triumph as a head coach. Whitmer had 142 yards rushing, 147 yards passing. Brandon Waddell caught 3 passes, 86 yards and a score, while Jamon Holmes carried 16 times for 80 yards, and he found the end zone 3 times in the Whitmer victory there.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I thought, Dublin Kaufman, a tradition-rich program, thought this one may be a little tighter than that, but I think that tells us that the program's in good hands with Coach Keller, and as we said, consider Whitmer one of the big 3 of the Buckeye division of the NLL, along with Perrysburg and AW.
The blowout train rolled on in Sylvania last night as Southview 40-0 over Northview, limited Northview to 68 yards overall in the Battle of Sylvania as Southview won for the 4th straight time. Southview threw for 278 yards, but Coach Steve Hardy and Southview gets a big win as far as that area is concerned last night in an impressive fashion, 40-0. I don't think it was a huge surprise as Barry Bach trying to rebuild that Northview team, and boy, they still have a long way to go, it looks like.
Yeah, the honeymoon's over, as they say. And Coach Bach knew it'd be a reclamation project for sure. But Coach Hardy put the kiboshes on any hopes of it turning around last night. So congrats to Coach Hardy. And I'm curious to see, Coach Bach seemed optimistic when we talked to him in the preseason. They have some kids coming. Their numbers have improved. But the key as you're trying to build that thing, Lynn, is the psyche of your kids. And getting smacked like that in week 1 makes it tough.
Let's look at the schedule that both those teams have coming up here the next couple weeks, Coach.
Yeah, I pulled it up here.
Northview, Springfield at home, at start, home with Bowling Green, home with Napoleon before they get into that NLL Buckeye division. Clash, Perrysburg, Whitmer, Anthony Wayne, Finley, and Clay. Tough sledding.
Yeah, that's
for the Wildcats.
It is. So they've got to compete against Springfield this week. Who, that's going to be a lot more difficult than maybe we originally thought after what Springfield did last night.
Maybe it was a game at the beginning of the season you thought Northview had a chance in.
I did. I'll admit. And then start week 3, and then Bowling Green, and then it's tough sledding for Northview. Does Coach Bach get a win this year?
Better get in the first half.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tough when you get into the big boy division of the Northern Lakes League.
I agree.
Yeah. Boy, like to see Northview have some success and maybe get some more kids
I would too.
Included in the program.
I would too.
And they have a lot of options there in the Sylvania community.
They do, and
more than just Northview and Southview.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they do. And Barry Bach, I root for Coach Bach. He's a class act, man.
NWL Coach of the Year a year ago.
Yeah, and he earned it.
Yeah.
He's got the personality. He reminds me a little bit personality-wise of Josh Linke at St. Francis. Contagious. Kids want to be around him. Kids want to play for him. And so I'm rooting for him.
Yeah. I'm going to take a break, come back, and talk about Springfield's victory over Maumee last night.
Who says a college degree is the only path to a fulfilling career? At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods with or without a degree. Gherkin provides a generous benefits package, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. We're looking for rock-solid performers to help build and reinforce the region's infrastructure. Whether you have construction experience or are just starting your career, apply now at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show, and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine. Stop by the Sports Place at Wassee on Ace for all your back-to-school shoes and fall sports shoes. We have Under Armour shoes in stock for youth through adults. The Sports Place will keep you and your family in style without breaking your wallet. Also, the Sports Place at Wassee on Ace is your new headquarters for sporting goods in Northwest Ohio. Stop in to see our selection of equipment, practice apparel, Letterman's jackets, and much, much more. Plus, we offer custom-made t-shirts, embroidery, and other apparel in one convenient location. Visit us at 1495 North Shoup Avenue in Wassee. The Swanton Welding Company proudly supports our local student athletes and coaches. We're committed to being your local steel fabrication company in Northwest Ohio and building projects across the country. For job opportunities at the Swanton Welding Company, visit www.swantonweld.com or visit them at 407 Zider Way in Swanton. Welcome back to Rise and Rewind, presented by the Swanton Welding Company, our good friend Norm Zider. Thank you to Normie. He has been very generous with his support since the inception of Black Swamp Football back in 2019, and he stepped up and wanted to be the sponsor of Rise and Rewind.
Yeah, and we could go on and on and on about Norm and his unselfishness, but he doesn't have a ton to gain. By sponsoring us. Maybe some workforce, some former high school football players or whatever. But Normie just does it to give back.
Yeah. If you're in the welding industry, go see our good friend Norm Zider over at the Swanton Welding Company.
And that's actually a good plug because they do need workers.
Welders. Yes.
And they'll take care of you.
Yeah. Oh, I promise you that.
They'll take care of you. They're a family. That workforce there at Swanton Welding is a family. And just like Gherkin Companies, you talk about being being taken care of as an employee. Swanton Welding, Gherkin Companies.
High expectations at both places.
Well, absolutely.
For their workers, and they will take care of you for the work that you do. Surprise of the night.
Yep.
Springfield 42, Maumee 14. Blue Devils, new head coach Sam Arredondo roll into Kazmaier Stadium and just lay it on the Panthers, who had an 8-3 season a year ago. They were thinking they're going to have another big season, maybe challenge for an NBC championship. And boy, 42-14. Blue Devils threw for 272 yards, gained 404 overall. Byron Jackson caught 3 passes for 93 yards. Maumee had 241 yards on 52 plays. Not a whole lot of yardage per play there for Maumee. Can we make anything of this? Is Springfield on the rise? Is Maumee maybe not what we expected them to be this season? Where are we at with this one? Maybe we'll figure it out in a month or so.
It's going to take me some time because I'm confused. Here's what I'd love. I'd love to be able to watch this game film, Lynn, and see, was it just a series of crazy, unpredictable events, or did Springfield roll into Kazmaier Stadium and just out-execute them, outplay them, out-hit them? Did they do all that? They very well might have, but this is the shocker so far, and we will know a lot more about Maumee next week. They go to Napoleon. I think after that game, we will be able to form a pretty solid opinion on what Maumee is based on what we've seen from Napoleon and what happened last night. And now if Maumee goes into Buckenmeyer Stadium Friday night and beats Napoleon, that tells me Springfield's on the rise.
Who's Springfield got this week, Coach?
Springfield has a winnable game against Sylvania Northview.
Oh, okay.
At Northview. Springfield's on the road weeks 1, 2, and 3.
Who do they got week 3?
Finley, at Finley. And those Springfield kids, man, they've been through it. They've had so much turnovers. They've had 3 head coaches since Coach Gucciardo, I believe.
Sounds right. I'm trying to recollect here.
Or maybe 2. Yeah, this is the 3rd. Coach Arredondo's the 3rd because Jerry Bell and then who's our guy last year?
Well, Charles Smith.
Wasn't there
somebody else? Wasn't there somebody else in between there too? Maybe somebody watching can help us out. But I was thinking there was somebody else in there as well, maybe.
Yeah, and so when you're a player, now I never went through this, but when you're a player and you have that kind of turnover, you're saying, why doesn't anybody want to coach us? You know, and so they're looking for someone to connect with. And Coach Arredondo, and I said this.
Do you know Coach Arredondo at all?
I don't. I only know his background, and I've watched his interviews. And I love his personality. I love his charisma.
Yeah, I think you want a head coach that kind of walks into the room and has control of the room. And Sam seems like that kind of guy.
He is, and that's
not overconfident, but confident enough that you have people's respect.
Yeah, and I think the kids trust him. And then kids, if kids know you care about them, if they trust you, they'll do anything for you. And I think they have that trust in Coach Arredondo, and I'm super happy to see it because there's some tradition at Springfield.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Gucciardo had some really good teams. You know that well.
He did,
and I bet you that got Napoleon's attention.
If it didn't, there's something wrong. Yeah. And even before Coach Gucciardo, you go back to the late '80s, the legendary head coach there, Steve Gwynn. And some of the players they've had there, Rick Upchurch, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Kobach.
Yeah.
Bryant Kobach in the NFL.
Yes.
They've had some dudes.
Yeah.
And again, keeping them there, you know, making them want to be Springfield Blue Devils, and games like last night are going to go a long way.
Yeah. Napoleon, Maumee, 2 teams, boy, they got to be in the dumps right now.
Oh, And it's week 2. It's week 2. And
but you're staring right down the gun barrel at an 0-2 start.
That's what I was going to say. Now, I know the playoffs are expanded, so you have a little more breathing room. Is there such thing as a must-win in week 2? You could argue either way, but in terms of the psyche of your football team, I guarantee you there's going to be a sense of urgency in both camps this week at practice. You want to bet?
There ought to be.
Yeah. I mean, going to practice week 3 when you start 0-2, which somebody's gonna, presents a whole nother challenge.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing: if you're Napoleon, you know who's waiting on them week 3?
They have a W week. Yes.
And then who they have week 4?
Oh, Clay. Oh. Ooh.
So
0-2 can turn into 0-4 real quick. Real quick.
Well,
And who you going to favor in week 3 and week 4 after watching Anthony Wayne will be a heavy favorite against Napoleon.
Yep.
This year.
Yep.
After watching Clay last night and you saw Napoleon the night before, I'd give Clay a couple score edge probably if I was making the odds.
Yeah, if you're being objective and being honest, absolutely you would. And so this, I mean,
yeah, maybe a must win and
some urgency for the Cats here. And then you look at the back end of Napoleon's schedule. I think you have Northview and Southview, but you looked at Springfield before the season. You always look at the schedule and you go, okay, they're going to win that. They're going to win that. They're going to win that. And you would have said, okay, week 7, okay, they're going to beat Springfield. They might.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can just
how
chalk
many
it up.
more winnable games does Springfield have on their schedule?
So Springfield, they have 1.
How many games you think they win after?
Yep. So they're 1-0, 2, 3, 4. They're going to be 5-5 or 4-6.
Okay.
I think they can get to 5.
Wow.
And they would have to pull off what would be considered an upset to get to 6. But if they get to 6, now they can flirt with being on the edge of the playoff bubble.
Yeah.
And how cool would that be for Coach Arredondo?
Yeah, it would be. Boy, we're taking some heat from our St. Francis friends, Josh Linke, this morning. He says, you boys are slacking with the 9 a.m. start. Hey, Coach Linke, I rolled home at midnight, and then I had a bunch of write-ups to do. I was up till 3 a.m., and I got up at 6 a.m. this morning. So I don't want to hear it. I want to know what time you went to bed and what time you got up this morning. I bet I beat all the coaches in Northwest Ohio up this morning, and I'm on the shortest amount of sleep of all of them, too.
Yeah, shortest amount of sleep. I think those Springfield coaches might have. I think they might have been enjoying that victory last night.
Let's see if any coaches can beat my. Probably went to bed at about 3. Woke up at 6:30 when my yellow lab Clark was bouncing off the back patio door at the deer in the backyard. I got 3.5 hours.
Lynn, you look better than I do after 3.5 hours of sleep. I'll tell you that.
Well, I didn't want to roll in here with the coffee club here looking all cloudy.
Yeah, that's true.
Because then Rex would have really let me have it.
Yeah. He'll kick you when you're down anyway. Now, if you walk in with bags under your eyes.
What are you doing looking all sleepy this morning?
I can hear him.
Jeez. I'm not dealing with that.
No. One of these days.
I'm up ready to roll on Saturday mornings.
I know. I'm excited too. I was up around 6. My son was home. He's going back to Bluffton this morning. So I saw him off at 6 a.m., but I wasn't up till 3. I hit the sack around midnight. I confess.
Midnight?
Yes.
Wow. You didn't stay up long after we got home.
I didn't. I got home and there was a treat on the table. My daughter got me some Cinnabon Delights from Taco Bell. She knows I love them. You ever had those?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh my goodness. They got Cinnabon like icing in the middle of them, like little donut holes.
That's not good to have at midnight.
No, it's not. And man, I had a stomach ache. So a large order is like 12 of them and they're big.
You ate all 12?
I ate all 12. I
Oh,
couldn't
boy.
stop.
Huh.
And had a stomach ache when I went to bed.
I wonder why. My wife, Sarah, she had a homemade pizza ready for me when I got home last night.
She did.
Yeah, she makes an incredible homemade pizza.
She put it in a pizza oven or just a pizza stone in the oven?
Just in our oven, pizza stone in our oven. We do have an outdoor
Yes,
pizza, wood fired.
Yep.
It's kind of just hard to get the temperature right.
I know.
With the
It's
wood
work.
and get the wood going and the charcoal. It takes time, but if you're out there, you know, watching a baseball game, listening to a baseball game, or watching a football game, yeah, you don't mind. But it's time consuming.
Yeah.
The thing is a little fickle. You just can't ever get it right. How the wind's blowing and the temperature outside, but it's fun to do if you got nothing better to do.
Yeah. So my smoker is wood and charcoal, but my pizza oven is propane, and it's slick, and there's no trying to get the temperature right. I mean, you turn that thing on and it's 580 in there.
I forgot that Coach Linke has a newborn. They had a new arrival, him and his wife recently. So up till 2 a.m. with a crying baby, he said. Well, maybe Coach Linke's. I probably shouldn't complain too much about sleep these days.
Well, are we going to give him some grace for that?
Yeah, you're good, Coach Linke.
I suppose I was going to say something smart, but I'm not gonna. He's too good a guy.
Yeah.
How can you not like that guy?
Yeah, you gotta love him. Yeah, no doubt about it. How about Leipzig? 56 points last night on the road at Lake. 56-35. The Vikings got the win there. Came out on top in a shootout behind 212 yards passing and 199 yards rushing. Marquise Williams, 167 yards and 4 scores on 14 rushes. Also returned the opening kickoff for a 79-yard touchdown. Julian Rodriguez, he had 26 totes for 190 yards and 2 scores to pace Lake. But Leipzig,
90-plus combined points in
Mark Kirkendall
in this one.
The Leipzig Vikings put up a boatload.
Yeah. Entertainment value from a fan's perspective, that certainly had it. Does this tell us that Leipzig's going to be a contender in their conference this year?
Are they the biggest challenger to Liberty-Benton? I know you like Arlington.
I like Arlington a lot. No, I think Arlington.
Sticking with Arlington?
I am. I'm riding with Arlington. Just in
I've got some counterintelligence to that.
Do you?
I do. I don't know. We'll find out what Arlington is.
We'll find out. I coached against
I've had
Arlington.
some other people tell me, tell Strock to back off on that prediction.
So
but we'll see.
And I respect that. I'm right more often than I'm wrong on that. And my sources, I trust. And I coached against Arlington for seven times. I coached against Arlington. They're going to be a contender. But we'll see. Okay. Your sources versus mine.
Yeah. I got some.
I could look real silly, which wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. We'll find out as the season progresses. Seagull 30-3 over Bowser last night. Forgive me because I know the Otsego stat crew had some issues last night. I don't know if these stats are totally correct, but Keegan Hutton had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter for the Knights. Chris Kazmaier added another score before tacking on 2 more scores after that first quarter. But that's all the stats we have from that Otsego victory over Bowser. But no surprise there for Otsego. Expecting them to have a nice year in year 2 for Craig Rutherford. He will have them ready to go this season.
The only thing I have to add to that is Otsego and that community is lucky to have Craig Rutherford.
Yes, absolutely.
They're just going to continue to trend, and they will become super consistent.
No doubt about it. Toledo Christian back in the 11-man game, and they were treated rather rudely at Rootstown last night. 42-0 Rovers. TC was limited to 138 yards, while Rootstown had 235. About a 2-hour trip, did we say the other day on our podcast for Toledo Christian, and they don't have quite the talent they've had from these 8-man year teams that they've won state championships with, and have to figure out kind of where they're at as an 11-man program again.
Yeah.
They have good numbers. Numbers.
Well, that's the key, and you need to keep those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have their hands full again this week as Toledo Christian because they play the Macomb Panthers.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be tough sledding. They play Lakota, who won last night. Richmond Heights, they'll win that one. Ridgemont, I'll favor them in that one. And then Blackhawk Christian, USV, Hard Northern. Corey Rawson will win that one. You would think 8, and I know the talent that graduated. I get that, but how big a difference is there, Lynn, in 8-man and 11-man aside from the numbers? I mean, is it like a 1 or 2 year adjustment period because you're playing with 3 more guys?
Yeah, maybe have to ask Coach Andrew Skeels in a couple of years.
He'd be a great resource.
They don't have a Carter Kester running around out there this year for him.
Yeah,
he would have been a nice player to have in the 11-man game because he would have put up big numbers in 11 too. It's hard to quantify the competition they're playing in 8-man and then stepping up and do 11-man. I don't know. Well, be a question we can answer in a year or two.
What I'll be curious to see, Lynn, is can they continue to trend, keep their numbers going in the directions that we're, or taking
from what I've heard in their elementary, they have great numbers. I don't think their numbers are going to go down.
That's what I wanted to hear.
That's what I've heard from some of their insiders.
Well, that's what I want to hear because I
don't think they're in any trouble of having short numbers on their roster. That's what I'm being told.
What I was asking. A lot of affection for Toledo Christian. I think they have a great mission there at that school.
No doubt about it. North Baltimore 36-28 over Bucyrus as Greg Bishop returned to North Baltimore and picks up the win to open up the season against Bucyrus team that was winless a year ago. Luke Long threw for 257 yards, including 234 yards to Clark Cooper, and he also ran for 105 yards to Luke Long, while Brody Walter ran for 114 yards as the Tigers picked up a week 1 win, 36-28.
I'm happy for North Baltimore.
Yeah, I am too.
I enjoyed meeting them at our kickoff show, the Fighting Tigers. And we don't know how good they are. Bucyrus has certainly had their struggles. But when you look at North Baltimore's schedule, and we won't get into it right now, but when you look at their schedule, it's conceivable that they run the table. I'm not saying they will. Mm-hmm. They're 1-0. But if you look at the makeup of their schedule, they could run the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they could.
Holgate, 8-man action last night, 36-16 victory at Stryker, and Adam Byram's debut for the Tigers continue their dominance over Stryker. They've never lost to the Panthers. Brody McMillan had a 39-yard touchdown run and later caught an 8-yard Mateo Gomez touchdown toss. Santos Pacina added a scoring runs of 15 and 16 yards for the Tigers, while Wyan Steinecker had an 8-yard touchdown. Cody Stewart caught a touchdown from Jacob Ramon, and Eli Capps hit Ramon for a 24-yard touchdown for Stryker. But Holgate gets off to a start at Stryker last night in 8-man action.
A name just jumped out at me, Lynn. Santos Pacina was one of my freshman health students at Napoleon.
And Napoleon,
made the move down to Holgate. So good luck to Coach Byram and Santos, and wish the Tigers the best, and see if Coach Grimm can continue to build that program at Stryker.
St. Francis, speaking of Coach Josh Linke, 64-14 overweight. Not much of a challenge in that one. Knights had no problem to open up the season. Eli Beal carried 3 times 60 yards and a touchdown, also caught a TD pass in limited duty as he got out of that game pretty quickly, and staying healthy was the main part of that one last night for St. Francis. The Knights had 227 yards rushing, 298 passing. Rocco Pillarelli, transfer from Ottawa Hills, he added a touchdown along with Collins Walker. Jaden Houston also had 2 touchdowns receiving. Elliot Jagaleski and Solver Hughes added touchdown grabs in that one for St. Francis. But all Knights in the victory over weight last night.
Yeah, not much to add there. Congrats to Coach Linke. I know they have bigger fish to fry going forward. I'm looking forward to following their game this coming week. They play Bishop Dwenger out of Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Who, traditionally is a tough football program. Met a couple of folks that have sons on the Bishop Dwenger team, and they're playing that game. Where'd they tell me? They are playing that game like down at Cincinnati Moeller High School as part of some type of kickoff Classic, yeah.
Okay.
And Coach Linke, correct me if I'm wrong, but that game against Bishop Dwenger this week is somewhere off the beaten path. I want to say Moeller, but we'll see what Coach Linke says. Interested to see how that goes.
See if he's still listening.
Dwenger lost 3-0 last night in a nail biter. So,
to who?
Roncalli, Indianapolis, or Roncalli, based out of Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. 3-0.
3-0. So,
yeah.
Oh, I thought that was Coach Linke getting back to us. Come on, Coach.
It's just Rob Nepper. That's not important, probably.
Speaking of Ottawa Hills, Rob Nepper, the pride of the village.
He's the pride of Ottawa Hills?
He is in my book.
Okay. All right. Anthony Wayne, they challenged themselves. They went to Upper Arlington last night, but fell 31-6 to the Golden Bears. Just way too much to ask for. Kind of a new look Anthony Wayne team.
Mm-hmm.
Lost some dudes from that team a year ago. Upper Arlington had a 373 to 205 edge in total yards, but respect AW for challenging themselves on the road against a very good foe.
No, absolutely. And when you're Anthony Wayne, the same can be said for, Perrysburg, Central Catholic, those guys, Whitmer. It's hard to find opponents in this neck of the woods that want to lock horns with them. So,
right. No doubt about it.
They took on the challenge, and Andy Brungard, no one is better at kind of regrouping their guys than Andy Brungard. He's a master of psychology. His son, Porter Brungard, talk about top quarterbacks in the area. He's going to be one of them. He's a special young man. He's already picked up offers just from camp.
Yeah.
Just from camp.
Yeah. Yes.
And so the Generals are going to be just fine, Lynn.
Yeah. Talk about some GMC teams and tax schools here to round out the portion of our recaps. Montpelier 24-16 over Antwerp last night. Montpelier averaged 7.4 yards per rush and prevailed on the road at Antwerp. The Locos gained 178 yards on 24 attempts. Hayden Sharps completed 10 of 14 passes, 158 yards and 2 scores. Griffin Cooley tallied all the Montpelier scores and also sealed the game with an interception. Gage Clevenger led the Archers with 118 yards, and Braden Fuller hauled in 3 passes for 102 yards and a score for Antwerp. A couple teams trying to find themselves a little bit and build their programs, but Andy Robinson and the Locos get a win to start the season at Antwerp, who is battling that numbers crunch as well right now.
Antwerp has had Montpelier's number.
They have,
right?
Yeah, they have.
And so Coach Robinson able to kind of get that monkey off the Locos back there, and Coach Jason Hale at Antwerp, obviously one of our favorite coaches.
Yep.
And so hopefully they can get those numbers built up and stay healthy. But I'm rooting for the Locos and Coach Robinson. Those kids have been part of rebuilding that program, and they deserve every bit of success that comes their way.
No doubt about it. Mismatch in this one, Paulding 55, Swanton 0. Panthers no problem last night in that matchup. Avery Cooper found the end zone 3 times on runs. Blake Roanhouse had touchdown grabs of 46 and 38 yards. He also returned an interception, 45 yards for a touchdown. Jalen Mans added another defensive touchdowns, pouncing on a fumble in the end zone. But Paulding rolls, and Swanton, I don't know, have to find a way to rebuild that program, and I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I actually thought about this a little bit on the way home last night, Lynn, when I saw that score. Now, we know that Paulding's trending up, and I think it's safe to say they're a player in the GMC.
Yeah.
They're a contender. Their top 3 or 4 players at Paulding are as good as anyone's top 3 or 4 players in that league.
Blake Roanhouse, very underrated. The Mans brothers, Avery Cooper's a nice running back for them. Colt Hunt, their quarterback, really good as well. They have some big-time skill that we'll be excited to see against Fairview and the Sonoras and the Edgertons. We'll get to what Edgerton did last night because they were pretty darn impressive themselves.
So Swanton, another thing that makes it tough, rebuilding that this isn't going to matter for several years, but they're Division 5, Region 18, right? But we're not talking about that yet, but they have Hicksville this week. And based on what I know about last night's game, I mean, that's a game Swanton can compete in. And I'll say this, Swanton cannot host Hicksville Friday and lose that game 28-0. They just can't. And so they've got to show some signs of life. And then they have Ottawa Hills week 3, and then they host Liberty Center week 4. So it's a process. And I think to get that thing going back at Swanton, Lynn, you don't start with the current upperclassmen. You coach the heck out of them. But that thing's got to be built at the
what grade do you start? I mean, you have to start second, third, fourth
100%.
grade. I mean, it's a
100%.
It's a 4 or 5 year probably process before
it is.
Unless they have a class in there that we don't know about that's uber talented,
and they might. But you've got to start at a young age, first, second, third grade, because you've got to entice those kids to be interested in football before the other sports scoop them up. And that's the battle when you're struggling as a program. You'll get kids that say, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to go out and get beat every week. Well, if your best athletes aren't playing football, you're going to get beat every week. So which comes first?
How do you find that staying power? Because we've seen Swanton when Mike Vickers was there 2017, 2018 area.
Gunnar Oaks like that.
Yeah. I think they won the league or tied for the league right in that area. How do you go from having, and you can probably throw Brian in this mix as well with what they have kind of done over the years. How do you go from once every 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you have a really good team, and then the other years you're hovering at that 1, 2, 3 win area? Is there a way to go from kind of even that out where you're maybe 7-3 and instead of 1-9 for 4, 5 straight years? Can you do that? And does that start at the younger grades, or is it just a matter of some classes just are not as talented as others?
It's all of the above, and then some of it comes down to the community. So in Liberty Center, if you look at their roster, the overwhelming majority of those kids had a parent or both parents or someone in their family rooted in Liberty Center. They come back and live in Liberty Center. I'd be curious to see, for example, just Swanton, how many kids on the current roster have a parent or parents that come back to Swanton. So I think one of the ways you get staying power, look at Patrick Henry. They've had 30 years of staying power under Bill Inselman, and look at the names on the roster. They're all rooted in the Hamler, Deschler, Malina, Grelton area. And so if your people are moving away and not coming back and raising families, that makes it tougher. And they used to in Swanton. And then it's a never-ending job. You've got to, if you take the job at Swanton, you've got to be willing to commit to 10 years and build it from the ground up. And you can never stop recruiting those kids. And there's so many variables. But I play in a Swanton athletic golf outing every summer at Valleywood, Lynn, and it's the biggest outing I play in every year. And so the support's there, the pride's there, the resources are there. I don't know what it is. And I know they're in a numbers crunch. There's more kids golfing. Mm-hmm. There's more kids playing soccer. And I'm not disparaging, those opportunities, but I'm saying, why aren't they playing football at Swanton? And you say, well, they don't want to get beat up every Friday night.
Well, 55-0.
Yeah. And then you say, well, listen, we can change that, but we need you. I don't want to do that. How do you do it? So
yeah, it's almost snowballed to the point where you can't get it back.
I know. And you think back, I think back to those Swanton teams. Oh my goodness. Tommy Eitner, Jimmy Barker. Oh my goodness.
They had a lineman that played in the NFL, right?
Nate Bowling.
Yeah. Jeremiah
Taylor. Dave Hansberger had a playoff team. I was at the game. They played down at St. Mary's. They played Versailles, and they lost by like 1 point. It was like 21-20 or something against Versailles. And so Swanton, man, that's a proud tradition. But it's just not happening with the population. People raising their families and kids there, and graduates wanting to come back to Swanton. And I'd love to see them return, because Dave Hansberger Stadium, I've always said, one of the great settings with the pines down there in the end zone.
No doubt about it. That's kind of a common denominator is your graduates don't move away, or they come back after they go to college.
That's right.
You look at the MAC, those communities, they don't move away.
They don't. Even
if the same names, you always.
Yeah, and even if here's the thing, Lynn, like a lot of these Liberty Center people that are rooted here, there might be some Liberty Center people, their job might be in Waterville, White House, Maumee. They're still living in Liberty Center. They're just going to drive a little bit for their job because it's that important to raise their family here. And so, boy, Swanton has plenty of tradition. I'd love to see him get it back.
Finishing up our recaps from a night ago, Edgerton 41, Eden 14. Maybe a surprise on the margin of victory for the Bulldogs in this one. Edgerton took a 27-0 lead into the half and cruised in the Battle of Route 49. Maddox Baker found the end zone 3 times on runs in the first half and also connected with Kellen Sanchez for another score in the first 24 minutes. Baker tallied another rushing score in the fourth quarter, and Sanchez returned a punt for a touchdown in that one as Edgerton gains a 41-14 victory over Eden. And maybe the Bombers know it's early, but be dropped off a little bit from the teams they've had the last handful of years.
Yeah, after 1 week, it kind of looks that way.
This is usually a game that's pretty tight both ways.
Yeah, it is, and especially with Eden's offense. Their system with Coach Olin always score a lot of points. Does this tell us, it's 1 week, but is Edgerton a contender in the GMC?
I think they were kind of that second tier maybe of teams the beginning of the preseason for me.
Yeah. Fairview, Tenora, Paulding, and then is Tenora, Edgerton looking to crack that group?
I think so.
Okay. They might be a cut above everybody else.
I think it's those 4, and then after that, it's going to be tough for any of those other 4 to make much noise. Wayne Trace, Antwerp, Ayersville, Hicksville. Yeah, and then you look at the top 4. I think it's split in half.
I would agree. Pretty clear split.
Yeah, the bottom 4, not much separation. I would say Fairview has the most talent. Now, does that translate onto a Friday night? You never know what's going to happen with weather and turnovers and things that happen in competition.
For sure.
And then there's Tenora, Paulding, and I think Edgerton is in that middle between that 3 and that 4.
I would agree with you.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Got to play him, right?
Yeah, Maddox Baker, a heck of a quarterback for Edgerton. Kellen Sanchez. They have some skill. Can they hold up in the trenches and that sort of thing?
And then
that's what's going to win the GMC is whoever plays best up in the pits.
Couldn't agree more. And then you got to stay healthy. I know Paulding's a legit contender. We know some of their stars are legit. Right. How much depth do they have? Because they lost some studs last year.
Injuries are always a part of the game. One of those teams loses a significant skill player. How much does that change the landscape of the Green Meadows Conference? It can. Has some other games we don't have any stats from a night ago. Hunter Coles and Evergreen, 41-7. Congratulations, Coach Coles, 41-7 over the Jeff Cats last night to open up his career. Took over kind of late in this year as Barry Bach went to Northview, and Evergreen goes to Hunter Coles, but picks up a nice win in week 1, and we're told Evergreen's going to have a nice year.
Yeah, it would be curious to see if they can somehow slug it out with PH, Liberty, Archbold. Can they Delta? Absolutely. Can they hang in there in those games and maybe knock one of those aforementioned teams off?
Yeah. Another first-year head coach with a win last night, Joe Horn at St. John's. No problem with Scott, a total mismatch there, 49-8. Galleon all over St. Mary's. The Rough Riders, probably the team that everyone was looking at as maybe the team that could challenge Walpock the most. Now you maybe think Lima Bath is that team, but 35-6, that's a pretty convincing victory for Galleon. Versailles 27-6 over Milton Union. Gibsonia Pine Richland from Pennsylvania rolled into Findlay last night to Donnell Stadium 38-7. Elida 38-0 over Rogers. And Ridgeville doubled up on Hilltop 28-14 to round out the scores from a night ago that we don't have any summaries from.
Well, 1 week in the books, small sample size. I think we learned a little bit, but I think week 2 will tell us more. We mentioned some of those games, Lynn, Maumee, Napoleon, and games like that. And I'm curious to see what Coach Rittenauer and Defiance do going forward. As you said, WBL 10-team league, 9 league games, so they jump right into the fire.
Who does Defiance have here week 2, Coach?
It used to be Wapak, but the schedule rotated.
Split. Yep,
so why do I have Elida in my head? I could be way wrong, but
I was thinking maybe Salina. Nope, they got OG on the road.
Okay, so that's gettable.
Yeah,
it
is.
It's gettable, but
then Wapak at home.
Okay,
for Steve Rittenauer and his crew.
Okay, yeah. The problem is going to OG. You're facing a team that just got stung by Liberty-Benton, and Coach Schreiner's going to have their attention. So, but we'll see what they do.
Putting you on the spot here a little bit. Is there a game coming up week 2? I know we have Liberty-Benton at Grove. Important game, maybe a little bit. I should say a little bit more for Grove, because I think this is a game. If Liberty-Benton is going to be a player in the Region 18 Division 5 playoff picture, it's a game I think they have to win.
Grove?
Liberty-Benton.
LB, yes.
LB, I'm saying.
Yes.
If they think they're going to challenge Liberty Center.
Yep.
This is a game they have to win.
No, I agree, because it's a similar type opponent that they would get with Liberty Center, with the ruggedness and physicality and things like that.
That's maybe the thing that Liberty-Benton has not shown is to slug it out with somebody that's going to run it down their throat.
Couldn't agree more.
Are they going to bow their back and not let Columbus Grove gash them?
Yeah, and we're going to find out. And another one that stands out to me is Eastwood at Liberty Center. That's one that's
another Division 5 Region 18.
Yes, it is. And I'm always curious when we're broadcasting on Friday nights, getting those first updates. So when we get the first, end of the first quarter update from LC Eastwood, is it 0-0? Is it 7-7? Is it 17-0? One or the other? I don't know, but that one's intriguing to me.
Yeah, I agree. St. Henry Archbold. If St. Henry comes up here and just rolls the streaks like they did a year ago.
Yeah.
Is Coldwater maybe not the team they were a year ago after seeing the amount of points that Germantown Valley View put on them? I mean, Chip Otten's going to have them deep into the playoffs, but does Coldwater take a little bit of a step back?
Yeah, I mean, it would appear
Can
so.
St. Henry be that number 2 team in the MAC, possibly, behind Marian Local?
I think the answer to that's yes.
And can they compete with Marian Local? Can they compete? Can anybody compete with Marian Local this season?
Could St. Henry be last year's Minster in terms of competing with Marian Local? I'm curious to see what they do to Archbold, because I think Archbold, they made a statement last night going on the road and beating Genoa. And so curious if St. Henry handles them. I think St. Henry's
a similar score as a year ago.
Yeah.
I think this Archbold team's better.
Yep.
Than they were last season.
Yeah, I do. And I think they're more physical than they were last season. And Coach Dominic's going to have them ready. And if Archbold is in that game or somehow wins that game, I think we could maybe say the Blue Streaks are back. That's a statement.
How about Central Catholic and Cass Tech? I know I looked through the Cass Tech roster about a month ago to see who they had, and they have like 7 of the top 10 guys in Michigan on their roster. I can't remember the exact number, but it was a lot of the top players in the whole state of Michigan are playing at Cass Tech.
We'll get into it on the podcast, but I'm going to lean Central Catholic just because it's nearly impossible for them to lose 2 in a row. Just Coach Dempsey, I just think they'll improve. A lot of teams improve between week 1 and week 2, but I think Central's going to take a big step. Okay. I think they'll button some things up.
Okay. We have some college football today, I think, over in Ireland.
Yes.
K-State and Iowa State. Do I have my my team's right?
You do. It's in, I think, Dublin, Ireland, which I don't love.
Yeah,
I
why
don't
are we
like
playing
that.
over
What do we
Michigan?
do?
Michigan's going to Germany next year to play. Come on.
I hate it.
I hate it too. It's
I do.
stupid.
And when NFL games are over, I won't watch it. I refuse to watch it.
They think they're going to expand to Europe
It's
and play
ridiculous.
the NFL games over there. Nah.
It's ridiculous. I don't like it one bit. And then Kansas plays a little bit later. Lance Leopold, their head coach. Kansas, you think basketball, they're a lot better in football. And Lance Leopold was a great MAC coach for a long time, great Division III coach before that. So I do like watching Kansas. You have UNLV later today, which some people are saying they have a chance to be a playoff team with the expanded format, the UNLV Rebels. I may head down today, Lynn. I also may not head down to Bluffton University. They have a scrimmage today with Heidelberg. And so thinking about making the trek to watch the Beavers. But, boy, we had a game Thursday night. We had a game Friday night. Am I going to get footballed out? I can't get burnt out on you.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the college football schedule. I don't see that Dublin. Is that for sure today?
Yeah, it is. It's a noon kickoff here.
I don't see it on the schedule here for some reason.
Yeah, noon kickoff.
Oh, that's why. Clicked on 1AA for some reason.
Yep. Yeah, it's Division I.
Iowa State, Kansas State at noon. Yep. Idaho State, UNLV at 4. Fresno State, Kansas, 6:30 tonight. Also, Sam Houston and Western Kentucky at 7. And Stanford and Hawaii at 7:30. And then next Saturday, college football begins in earnest.
Yeah, it does. And a lot of MAC teams in action coming up. But, yeah, UNLV minus 9,000 if you're a betting person against Idaho State.
Oh, wow.
UNLV is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are.
Iowa State, Kansas State, number 22 against number 17.
Oh, they're both top 25.
Both top 25. Okay. And I like K-State.
Okay.
Chris Kleiman, their head coach, is rock solid.
All right. Outstanding. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here on Saturday morning. And if you missed part of it, you can always go to our YouTube page and catch the entire show in length if you missed part of it or want to go back and rewatch or re-listen to part of the show.
It's been a great first week.
Yeah, it has been a busy first week.
It's been a busy. We'll be back here Monday, right?
Yeah, we're back in 2 days. Gonna have Rick Stidham as our guest picker.
Oh, okay.
Wauseon
from
Ace
Sports
from
Place?
Wauseon. I believe he played some old timers football actually back in the day.
I love it.
The old timers from Liberty Center here on our kickoff or our football show last week.
I love it.
That is available on our YouTube channel as well. Even if you're not a Liberty Center follower, I would encourage you to go listen to those old timers talk. They was the essence of football back in the days in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Love of the game, right?
Yeah.
For the love of the game.
Yeah. And also, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Monday night's KK Collision football show presented by Kyle Kern and his crew at KK Collision. Lynn Schrickle will be on.
Yep. I know Coach Schrickle very well. He led the Napoleon Wildcats to their first ever state football playoff appearance in 1986. Coach Schrickle's from down along the Ohio River.
Yeah.
And he's old school tough, but kind of like Barry Parsons, our good friend from Defiance. Coach Schrickle is a gentleman. He really is. And,
I think I knew who played center for him that season.
Yeah.
Some of your relation.
Yeah, back when he was kind of like a hard rocker. Scott Army had the mullet. He'd have the Iron Maiden cutoff shirt on, and people are going, "It must be a different Scott Army."
I saw that picture. I don't know if it was your sister that showed it to me, or they said, "Who do you think that is?" I said, "Some goofball from 1986 that was a hard rocker." It was Scott Army. I'm like, "There's no way."
Yeah. He's a professional nowadays, but back in the day, buddy, he was pretty hardcore. So
no doubt about it.
Yeah, Coach Schrickle, I had the immense pleasure of coaching two of his grandsons, Bryant Schlade and Max Westoven, at Napoleon. And Coach Schrickle is always super supportive. And That's going to be a treat to have him.
Yes, it will. September 8th, 1993 NWL season. We'll have Montpelier, Liberty Center, and Wasion guys here. September 15th, Mark Emmons. September 22nd, 125th anniversary of Defiance football. Figuring out who will be here as Tommy Ward is lining up some guys. Tim Beckman from St. Henry, October 1st. Columbus Grove Military, October 6th. 2005 Patrick Henry Football State Championship crew will be here October 13th. Still working on September 2nd and October 20th. Have a couple folks possibly lined up. Guest pickers, Rick Stidham. Week 2, week 3, Braden Martin of Martin RPI.
He'll be tough.
You better
to
be
beat.
ready that week. Better be ready that week. September 8th, Kenny and Brady Stabler. September 15th, Jerry Snodgrass. September 22nd, Dick Cromwell. Better be ready that week.
He'll be a treat.
October 1st, Andy Briggle.
Oh, one of my favorites.
From Williams County. He will get all the Williams County games right, I'm sure, that week.
If I had to pick between Kenny Stabler and Andy Briggle, like if you forced me to pick who I like better, it would be impossible.
Even Steven, huh?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. October 13th, Tenora and Finley great Kevin McCann will be here.
Oh, yeah.
And October 20th. That is the week you better really be prepared. You know who I got lined up October 20th?
For a guest picker or coach's
guest
show?
Picker. Our first female guest picker on the show.
Oh,
and
man.
she knows her stuff. Now, she knows volleyball maybe a little better.
Oh, I know.
Do you know?
I got it.
Maddie Klein from BCSN Sports.
I did not know it. That is awesome.
Do you know Maddie?
I do not. I know who she is. I do not know her personally. But when you said volleyball, I thought you were going to say Shar Sharp from our school.
Oh, okay.
No, that's awesome that she's joining us.
Covers the Toledo area for BCSN.
She might whoop us.
Better be ready. October 20th.
I'll do some extra homework.
Kevin Klein from Patrick Henry, the great pitcher that I think he pitched at Toledo, right?
Yeah, I believe he did.
Yeah.
Believe he did.
Yep. She will be fantastic. Looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you to all of our sponsors and any young men last night that were injured and on the field of play. Man, we're thinking about you. We saw one down at Wapak last night. So Godspeed to all you guys and
absolutely
good health to everyone the rest of the year.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again in a couple days on Monday night with our podcast and also our football show with the great Lynn Strickle. Have a great weekend, everybody.